Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. We're seeing a mixed start for North American stock futures once again, coming off a decline on Monday. We had the Dow and the S&P to the downside, the NASDAQ, in fact, leading the way more than a full percent. To start the new week, the big name tech stocks under pressure once again. We have the U.S. 10-year back above 1.6 to kick things off as we await the next batch of Q1 corporate results coming both before the market opens this morning and after market tonight. We got J&J this morning. We'll touch on that. A few other reports to get through this morning as well. As far as leaders this morning, J&J is higher, but we're seeing some other names kind of popping up this morning as well. Smaller stocks to talk about. We have Netflix, Procter & Gamble reported, so a wide range of things to discuss, including IBM shares up 3% in the pre-market after a positive report came out after market yesterday. It's Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Red numbers, as mentioned, right across the board here. S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, all to the downside once again this morning. TSX futures here in Toronto, 0.7% leading the way southbound so far. Brazil's open, trading lower. Bitcoin downside again today. Obviously not the 10% that we saw yesterday. Crude oil and gold in positive territory to kick things off this morning. Good morning, guys. It is Tuesday. Let's just get it over with, Robbie. Go ahead, hit the graphic. It's Tuesday, April 20th. Everyone knows.
We have a new graphic or
420.
No?
There it is.
Oh, there
it's
it is.
420.
There it is.
We'll just get it out of the way so everyone's fine and we're all done with that. So it's April 20th. Good morning. Earnings, and more earnings this morning. Tesla on watch a little bit here. We had Elon Musk saying that the autopilot in that crash over the weekend in Texas was actually not engaged. But rumors still saying that there was no one in the driver's seat. So, Tesla.
There's a lot to unpack with that one. I mean, there's some sleuths out there that have figured certain things about the story don't make a little bit of sense. I think it's cute that you think we got that out of the way, because as if that'll be the last reference we make. I'll be trading Sundial today, so there'll be a few puns. It's higher on the session, obviously, because we said going into that dollar was going to make, going into that afternoon show, it was likely to make a run to $1. I took off that short, which was probably a good idea. A lot of earnings, and of course, we're getting right back into the thick of things, so it should be a wild market. It's still looking to the downside for now. Of course, you talked about treasuries there, Brendan. And Sean, your IBM, I mean, I'm looking across the board. I mean, there's a few cyclical names that look okay, but up that 3%. So that's looking like a solid bet to the long side today, unless you just sort of pick a weed stock and gamble, I guess.
Yeah, I'm taking a picture of the sticky note here. I'll put it up in a second. But yeah, congratulations, anybody that was with me there on IBM. We talked about that yesterday. And then today we come up with a nice little beat there. We talked about old world tech becoming new world and IBM. Well, I mean, if this market was any nice to tech companies these days, IBM would probably be up double this, because I mean 3% is fine. We were expecting a little bit more. I talked about it breaking out above this 138. We did get that yesterday up to 139 in the aftermarket, but we are fading back in. Like I said, nothing's keeping these markets up apparently. So there's a big, huge beat by IBM. I tweeted that out. No, I mentioned it on the show that we were going to look at IBM for strength, and there it is. So from 133 up to 139. Those of you playing options can't get out in the aftermarket, but you'll be able to get out today. I like IBM to the high side. As I said, I'm going to put this sticky note out very, very soon for you all. But yeah, happy 420. I don't actually even know what the folklore is, but behind all that. But I'm sure it's a pretty interesting story, and I'm pretty sure I'll look it up after the show.
I was surprised to see that there are no cannabis stocks IPOing today. I figured that would be a great day for a cannabis stock to come to market. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things that are moving around in the pre-market. Before we do that, let's get over to the desk and say good morning to Miss B.
Good morning, Brendan, and hi guys. I wish you an interesting, fun day. Please enjoy the show and go long on the like button. Let's get it started, Brendan.
Go long. I like that. Go long on the like button, and also subscribe, guys, if you haven't. We do this every single day. The market is open. Let's kick things off with a look at the top 10 trader list here from Day Trade the World on Monday. Big numbers coming out of a whole wide range once again of markets here. 68,951 at number one. Some Canadian content in here as well, right through to the OTC. NASDAQ on its own, 22,000 there. Look at Europe here in number three, the LSE in London, Switzerland, Vienna, the Xetra in Germany, 21,000. And so on. Great opportunities to kick things off for another new trading week. We have, as mentioned, some earnings to get to. There's also a little bit of news, guys, I saw on this YVR. There's Blink Charging just popped up with a headline as well, talking about a distribution agreement. But I want to talk about that NFT stock, YVR. They announced their first NFT offering is coming very, very shortly. So YVR, I don't know if you have the chart there, Neil, maybe for YVR, but it is up here on volume in the pre-market.
Yeah, a little liquid media. We've had them on the show before. Now,
What up, Josh?
that's right. Josh himself. Look, I mean, you can talk about different fame, but of course, I want to know from Mighty Ducks because that's what it's all about. I want to come back to this consolidation on the stock because it's kind of been in this waiting for the news kind of phase at about like 240, 250 last couple of sessions here. Actually, not a bad little jump off. It's done a couple million shares here in the pre-market, so you are in the midst of like one of those consolidation potential rallies. And first things first, if it cannot break like a 310 here, you know, you'll get the news that comes out, and then oftentimes if it's going to be a generator of actual, you know, like multi-day rally, you got to get through that first consolidation, and that's going to be that 310. It hasn't been able to bust through just yet. So as I come back to the 1 minute to show you what's going on this morning, was a couple of rejections at that particular level already. So for me, you've seen this setup before. It's looking like it's a possible fade off of that 310 area, but it is still showing some strength. I mean, we're hanging above VWAP. It hasn't. If it was hanging out on the lows, usually I would have probably rolled into some kind of a short on it already. But that 15% to the upside, usually looking for a catalyst. Now it's got a little bit of a news catalyst here. The question is, can it actually push through that 310? If you're holding the bag on it, you know, taking profit isn't the worst idea in this range. And then if it can break out at 310, I think we're going to like this one.
It's nice to see them, you know, they've got the up list there to the NASDAQ. We had them on when they were just a little junior. Yeah. I mean, they still are over, I think it was the CSE or the Venture, but a shout out to Josh Jackson behind that. If you're into NFTs, I mean, you got to check out YVR. I mean, Neil just went over the levels. I don't even have it up, but look, I don't know. I'm still upset about this whole SPAC sell-off thing, so not upset about it, but you know, these continue to go down, and you've seen YVR come off its highs. And I wonder if NFTs is the same kind of space again. Playboy is ripping up on some of this news. I mean, we can even check out Playboy PLBY here over, I believe it's NASDAQ. Let me see if take a shot. There it is. Yeah. So some of these stocks are just getting, you know, lifted on this news, and I mean, and it does make sense. It's just I worry because we started, and again, it's the same kind of story. What now? These charts aren't going back that far. Oh man. I'm even in the different version today. So anyways, the point I'm trying to get at here is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, unless Playboy opened there, but I don't know. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, up to 43 and now back down. So it's just, I worry that this NFT craze isn't gonna last. I mean, I think it's a great idea, blockchain, you know, digitizing moments and things like that. I think it's fantastic, and I think it is the thing of the future, but let's not pay up for these things, guys. Remember, if you wanna get involved, that's fantastic, but I think what Neil mentioned there, we don't wanna hold the bag on a lot of these stocks, so, you know, just trade it as if it was a day trade. Maybe a swing trade, but don't put too much money in these things. I am a little nervous now that this is just one of those crazes. We've seen space fall off. You've seen a lot of these SPACs. You've seen a lot of these EV names. Thank God I talked up Fisker yesterday. Was really the only name that I liked in this space, and then today it gets a little bump up. But it's like, good news, Brendan, is like 3% up. Bad news is like 15% down. So I don't know. There's just a lot of interesting spaces right now, and NFTs is just another one of them.
Yeah, the Fisker chart this morning is pretty impressive. We'll talk about Fisker coming up here. Here's the headline, guys. I'll show you the headline here. For Liquid Media, they're talking about their first red carpet NFT drop along with an NFT platform at NFtainment.io. So you can check that out. So nice little move here in the pre-market for YVR. I noted this morning that cannabis stocks right across the board, guys, were up about 2%, 420, 2%. No real significant news. Otherwise, the Tilray-Aphria agreement soon to be finalized, but otherwise the sector could be in focus today.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing to us?
In focus? Yeah. Oh, it'll be in focus, all right. It'll be high in our minds, for sure. I don't have that one on my. All I have is Weed Batman. I don't even have that one on my board, Rob. So you gotta get me hooked up on this and be prepared for it. There is a psychedelic one that I'll throw out there if we make a good trade on Sundial. But look, this wouldn't be the first time you get a bit of a rally on this day. And let's keep in mind, this is the daily chart of Sundial, and look, we can get into fundamentals, but it's it's much more expensive than like your CGCs or basically any of these names that you're familiar with, guys. So it is very likely that even if there is a bit of a mild squeeze, this all started yesterday, made a move into one. There was a great shorting opportunity. We're trading that one. You guys were watching on the show in the afternoon. It came to 95. I put that one on at 95. It was a decent, and it couldn't go any further than like 92s, 93s here. And I had to take it off. I was like, it's going to rally into 420, so didn't want to be short in front of it. Now it's that $1 test, and the last time it was up here, it couldn't even make a break past that 108, 109 range. So I kind of feel like that's going to be that first little line. If it gets to that price and rejects, that's where I would look to be shorting it. If it breaks that, you're waiting till like 120 to 125, which was a double top before. I'd be pretty surprised if it's going to make that kind of a rally, because this was a move started a couple of days ago from like 75 pennies on Sundial, and then a low in yesterday's session of like 80 cents in the pre-market. So you start thinking about percent return here. Is it going to go 50% in a couple of days off basically nothing? I tend to not think that's going to be true. But if you get that breakthrough like that 110, I mean 125 is that next level, so I'll probably have at least a couple of longs there. And if I saw something ridiculous at $1, like a few million shares there, maybe like 4 or 5 million shares, I might decide to go long in 01 and just kind of be willing to lose the spread. But really nothing too exciting there, despite the 10 million shares. Looks like the bid support not as big as you'd want. The last time it was at this price and popped above, it was a monster bid that was sort of worth that defense. I'm not seeing it today yet.
I got to give a big shout out to my girl over here, because this is pretty funny, Valeria. Puff, puff, but don't pass on the like button. That's pretty good. I like that one. That's pretty smart. Good one there, Miss V. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the biggest and the baddest, in my opinion anyways, Canopy. I've talked about this one. This is my largest holding in the weed space. And, again, we get some out when it makes these moves, but we don't get out enough, because we do also get caught in the euphoria thinking that this thing's going to rocket even higher. But it was kind of easy to get out in the mid 40s, or even just 40. We bounced around here 44, 42 for a bit. But it doesn't matter. That's in the past. So let's talk about the future. We are right now just like, this is a daily chart, but we're right at these sort of capitulation points, I feel like. Bouncing off the 200 period, which is the red, which you can see is 27.50. That's right where we're at right now. You do have a very, very bottom of 24. That's pretty ugly to get down there, but we're only 10% away from that, so that is very possible. But again, if you're into this type of thing, and a lot of people don't want to make the investment, but I think that is probably worth a little test here if you're not in the Canopy yet. You're right at this bottom. They have acreage. They have a bunch of different, that they're backed by Constellation as well. So look, I don't know if Constellation's going to take these guys private, if they're going to dump more money, but they're already invested in the billions in CGC, and I think they have too much. I mean, look, they can let this thing fail. It's not a big deal, but I don't think that's the plan of action here. So let's just wait to see. I think CGC has the most runway. They're into pets. They have deals with Martha Stewart. They're into the drink business. They're into CBDs. So for me, CGC is the play moving forward. There's more sexy plays like a Sundial, like an Aurora, cannabis, organogram, things that will go up 30, 40, 50% in one day. But for me, for an investment anyways, I think you're on the right track if you dump some money into CGC on Weed Batman Day.
All right, Apple as well, guys, taking a page out of Tesla's playbook today with their, what is it, Spring Loaded event coming up at 12:30 this afternoon. So they're going to live stream again from their campus out in California. Some new iPads are on deck, apparently, some new technology in the iPads, but there was really no talk of anything phone-related coming today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I haven't really done too much work on what this is, but, they have their developers conference, and now they're doing another day today. And I mean, Apple just remains king as far as, the personal electronics goes. Any new iPad they have is probably going to be way too expensive for my blood. but obviously it's going to have new pieces of technology in there for them. And I mean, we can look at the Apple chart here quickly. Brendan just had it up, but it's basically flatlining so far today, not doing a whole hell of a lot in a 1 minute range. You're down 0.07, the market's down 0.25. So a little aggressive. If you look at yesterday, we topped out 135, I guess. I mean, if you're talking about the aftermarket and then what we did in the afternoon, but got excited early, faded down. Just kind of a typical Apple kind of day here. Nice rally, topped out, good move, back down, ended up a little bit higher. So we'll see today. I think if you take out this high, 135, which we'll probably do that before the market even opens, 45 minutes from now, I like a 135 break, but I'm not using today as any sort of a major event, as far as I know anyways, unless they're all of a sudden going to announce some sort of a car dealership or something.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's at that time of day where you can sort of, tune in if you want, pay attention to it, and then maybe be looking at the stock. But until we can actually get a real breakthrough that 135, and it seems like because we're flat on the session with the rest of the market to the downside, all it's going to take is like your first, real green day, and you're going to get that 135 break. And a lot of times, Apple's going to basically follow the market, but in this particular case, it does feel like that's going to be a great level for a potential break. You could always wait for the 135.50 that we had, that actual failed break top as well. But it's going to take a positive day in the market, I do think, and we're trying to get there. It was yesterday was a pretty weak day. I don't know that today isn't going to have a little bit of that continuation. At least it seems like maybe that's going to be the case off of the open. But if we go Greensville, you got to look at Apple as one of the first places through that top.
It's worth noting there was some volatility that did come in. I remember the last time they did one of these events in the middle of the day, 12:30, 1 o'clock p.m., there was some volatility, but I think it ended up trading relatively flat for the remainder of the session. But just be aware if you're in Apple or looking at Apple around 12:30 this afternoon, something could happen. Neil, do you want to talk about this Kansas City Southern? There's an increased bid for that KSU. We mentioned this deal going back a month or two ago. KSU up huge this morning. Not huge, 14 and change percent here. Will you be looking at that?
So it's on my radar. Like any time that you have like a revised deal, it kind of puts an interesting flow. Now this is going to be a stock, a cash and stock offer. I think the total new value was like $325. I have to double check on it. It's being sold. It's being sold off for now because ultimately while it's a big deal, I think it would have a good chance of passing regulatory approval because it is sort of would be a merger of not necessarily the two biggest rail companies that are out there. But I was a little bit wrong about the nuance thing, thinking that was going to get approval as well, and it got sold a little bit off of that news. So what I would love to see here is any kind of like right where we're at right now is actually pretty good. Like I like this sort of 290-ish area if you can actually find a little bit of consolidation. You want to try to find a floor, have the market find a floor first on any kind of like leverage buyout deal or speculation because the big arbs, they kind of know what they're doing around there when they can actually set a price and find a good level. Instead of guessing at it, you want to kind of be a follower of that instead of the leader. At least I think, and I should have backed off a little bit on nuance that particular time. Can it get back to that 300? I'd love to see it. I think your scalp trade is probably, and again, until we actually have some real volume and consolidation, it's hard to say. But we've done 1 million shares here. If we can consolidate off of 290, I think your scalp trade is off of that low into like a 300. You just have to watch out for the sell-off because from what I had seen, there wasn't anything in terms of finalization. I had just seen the speculation that they were coming with a higher bid and didn't see the full details of it just yet. So I wouldn't be buying this right now off of the open. I think you want to watch it make a floor because it's cash in stock. It's going to have a little more volatility than normal. But this isn't something you see it gapping up 15% and say, oh, I can buy this dip. It's going back over 300 because that's what the implied deal value could potentially be. It's never quite that simple. And it's not likely, even if it goes through, to close for a couple of quarters. So you're probably looking closer to the year end anyways.
All right, we had the big move in cryptos over the weekend. We came in yesterday, talked a little bit about some of the crypto related stocks. It ended up being a relatively muted session. Yeah, they were lower for the most part on the day, but pretty choppy showing, guys, for some of the crypto related stocks. Not on the list today, but Bitcoin really not bouncing here. We're still around that 56,000 area. It was down slightly again this morning. What do we do with some of these names today?
I mean, we could just start by looking, at the BTC chart here. And like you just mentioned, not really doing too much. This is just a 1 hour chart here. So you can see there's that bounce down, or I guess that drop down. The liquidation spot just happened. The same spot where we basically stopped back in March, just shy of 50,000. So to me, that's the baseline now. I mean, if we're going to break 50, then there's going to be a problem because, again, in the last month, we retested, and then we retested on that dump, and then people came back in to buy it. But I said yesterday that we were looking at this 58 to break, and it didn't really do anything. So if we go over to even just a 5-minute chart, let's just say for here, to give you guys a little look, this is what's happened. I thought we would come in today and see it much higher just based on the fact that, China, again, with the different time zones and stuff, waking up, trying to buy some more crypto, trying to give this that little base. But we've touched down here. I mean, this is also interesting. This 53.5, look, 53.5, 53.5, 53.5. So we've bounced off there a couple times. So I think it's just worth looking at, these kind of levels. And it's just, we'll watch crypto as they continue to fall. And then you could trade BTCC, which I'll talk about that in a second, or Mara, Riot Blockchain. I keep talking about BTCCB. So this is, I don't want to change my share size. I'm not trying to trade it right now. This is the Purpose ETF, the very first ever ETF listed for Bitcoin. And it basically mirrors it 1-to-1 here. This is a 1-minute chart. We don't need to see that. But here we go. It just opened just last month, a couple months ago, February. So February down to 880. Those are some of those lows near that 50,000. Then we touch up to 12. And then yesterday, because of that big drop down, you're down to 1060. This makes sense to me. This actually, if you chart this, although we only have 2 months worth of data, if you chart this against Bitcoin, you'll see a 1-to-1 relationship. Believe me, I watch it all the time. That's BTCCB. And then there's also BTC. We don't have this quote, but just to show you the symbol, it's .U. We'll follow it on the U.S. side if you have U.S. funds. And then
one more today.
Yeah, today apparently, I guess it's
It's ETHHB. There's not going to be an actual chart for it because it's the first day. This is the Ethereum. Same from Purpose. You actually already can see a bit of a quote here. Now these prices are irrelevant until it opens at 9:30. It's not going to really matter. I mean, I've seen like 12.90, 10.50 all over the place. But this is going to be your first chance. Exactly the same thing. There's a .B. There's a currency hedged as well as not in U.S. and Canadian funds. So there are different versions of this Purpose ETF. And finally, with Ethereum coming out today, who knows what they have in the future? But it's really for now your only way to actually get a direct ETF there. So first day of trade, we'll probably come back and have a look and see how it's done.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that trades today. Let's go with upgrades and downgrades here. Nike, I noted early on this morning, was a little relatively weak compared to the rest of the retail group. Citigroup downgrading Nike today. On this side of the story today, Square is on here once again from Barclays, catching an upgrade, 340 on the price target. And IBM we'll touch on once again, both MasterCard and Visa moving around in the pre-market. But this one, IBM with positive earnings, guys.
Let's just go a swish. I mean, we had that good idea about IBM, so we called that, and there you go. So finally, we go, not finally, I mean, we make calls all the time, and that one worked out. I just want to give everyone, an idea. Okay, oh yeah, because it reverse split, duh. Okay, so I just want to give everyone an idea that we do still look at, just to give you guys an idea, there still is this ETHE, that's the Ethereum grayscale product, which you could trade, of course, on Pink Sheet. Shout out to our boy Jeff Mendel, who was just here the other day. And he's going to be a regular guest, I think, bi-weekly or once every month. We'll figure out how often Jeff can come through. But he gives us some key names that are moving around in the space for their market, the OTC market. And this is a GBTC. So as you can see, like it was just $10 back in October, and then now you're up to 50. So that's 5x. So if you wanted to get some piece of Bitcoin, GBTC, of course, more like a true ETF there, not like the Purpose ETF. This one, they have management fees and they have expense ratios and this and that. So it's not going to follow crypto exactly the way. But someone mentioned in the chat an inverse Bitcoin ETF. I'd be interested to look at that if you guys can drop that in there. I haven't checked out any inverse Bitcoin products. I think that would be sick if there was any that actually did volume, because therefore you could short it. I mean, for me and Neil and Brendan, we can short things just as easy as we can go long as we can find boros. So an inverted one would kind of be cool. And what that means for everybody watching is that, as Bitcoin would drop, this instrument would go up, very similar to UVXY or some of those other ETFs that you can trade. There's oil ones as well. There's everything. I mean, everything nowadays has some sort of a leveraged or margined up ETF. So I'd be really interested to see. Oh, BITI, is that what someone just mentioned to me there? We'll find out. Is it on Amex?
Is that it?
Is it on New York? Is it on NASDAQ? We'll find out more about it. We may not have the quote here, but BITI, we'll look into that one.
BITI, I'll look that up for sure. Let's have a look at what is moving around in the pre-market, guys. If you haven't done so yet, let's get over to that link. First of all, sign up for the watch list and join us every morning as we go through the watch list and talk about all the stocks that are moving around in the pre-market. Absolutely free to you. All you have to do is register with an email, your Facebook account, whatever you like, and you have access to what we are discussing and looking at every morning. Let's talk about IBM here, guys. Off the highs, I guess you could say, from aftermarket yesterday, but big report for IBM. It was all about the cloud space for IBM, topping estimates right across the board.
Yeah, that BITI, Neil figured it out that
Toronto,
there's only one more market to go to, and it's the Toronto. Yeah, it's the inverse Beta Pro inverse Bitcoin ETF, but it doesn't look like it has any volume. So we probably can't trade it. We have restrictions on stock that doesn't trade too much volume, but BITI in Toronto inverse. But like someone pointed out there, you could just short, I mean, as long as you have a margin account, you could short ETHE or GBTC or even that BTCC. So you can do whatever you want with that one. Okay, so 136 comes through on IBM. A great print, a great number. You see this rally up there. Finally, I keep talking about this. Old tech becomes new tech. It's a 109-year-old company. So congratulations on that. They've replaced their CEO. That Ginny was horrible there for a very, very long time. Just absolutely killed the stock for forever. As Microsoft, as all the other big boys were rallying, IBM just got pummeled with bad leadership, bad management, bad direction for the company. Now they've switched it up and they finally get a nice profitable quarter. So we'll go up to 139 and hesitate there. So that's a good level. If we ever get going today, we got to watch out for 138.50 as that could be the top there. But I wrote down on the sticky note, and you can also see it's right at the top there, we need to take out a break of 138. So we'll do that. Nice psychological level. I didn't even write down 137 because we've just been bouncing around there a bit too much. And then I'd like to see some sort of a hold here at 136. If you go back to a decent daily chart here, you do have some levels, 132 top. I mean, these 132 there, 132 there. So if we come back into 132, would be a disaster, which means we're all the way back to flat. I don't expect that. So then we just move it up just a little bit to see 133 back on March 24th. Right in here was 133, and it just coincides a little bit. I mean, these are 132 bottoms, right? But it's all in the same area, so we'll see if we can protect backside 133, and then I'm looking at, a 136 print as well. So 136 right back here, 136, 136, and then 136 was the high before we broke out. So we're already back to 136, and the idea here on the sticky note, and I'll put the link in the chat, is, you see what it says there? 136, will it hold 136? So I think we'll take a bid down here, even right now, small bid on IBM 136. We'll see what it can do to 133. But 133, I'm going to load it up, and then we'll get out. We'll give that about a buck or two down to 130s. But that's going to be my level. I like a 138 break, a 136 defend, and I'm going to get some shares right now. Anything else, Neil, on that?
I mean, I wrote down 135, and the reasoning behind that for me is I look at the volume, of course, on IBM is not always huge. So you get a bit of a spread here. It's like 40 cents currently. But I just look at the last couple of weeks, and I see a little cluster on here. You see every time it's tried to break above that 136, which is obviously going to be a key one. I like that, Sean. Every time it's come up, it's failed shallow. On earnings, you're busting through. So what's happened when it's failed? You basically have this rollover below 36 off the open, and right around the cluster around that 35, 36, and then flush. You then try to hold it on the 50 aftermarket. Next day, it goes right back in under that range and then flush when it gets to 35. Every single time it's gotten to that, like halfway between that 35, 36, that's where the flush point's going to be. So if we're really, and this is now post earnings, so you have a catalyst to the upside. If we're really going to be breaking out, that's the level I want to see tested. So I'd let it break 136 and then look for that 135 half to be like that entry point into a long position. If it breaks 135, that's your tight stop. And of course, if you want to give it more room, thinking we're getting to 139, that's where that 132 would sort of come into play there. So I'm with you. I like the dip buy more than the breakout. Stocks that do small pre-market volume tend to be tricky for breaks on the open. I'd much rather be getting a good price in front of a support level than taking something out to the upside when you're paying the spread, and it's also on light volume. So I look like that mid 135, 135 to 136 range. Call it 135.50 if you want. But just also keep in mind, everybody, look at the spread here. It was just like 40 cents. We're still seeing it about 30 cents or so. Even though it gets closer to the open, it might tighten up a little bit. IBM is known for having some lighter volume, so be careful with those open orders.
Great. Let's bring in Arun here. We'll have a look at the overall market and check out the futures contract. Arun back with us. We had some camera issues yesterday. We apologize for, but what's up today, Arun?
Oh, I mean, it's been quite the move early this morning, all the way from 41.65 all the way down to 41.30 on the low end. So here we are. I do think the bias is still slightly to the sell side. So I am going to be continuing to look for some shorts. I've got 41.50 marked off, at which point I will kind of turn around and maybe look in the opposite direction for trades. But for now, I'm going to keep an eye on some shorts here all the way up to 41.50. There does seem to be some buying around 41.40, right? Pretty much where we are right now. There was a big buyer I just saw around exactly the 40 mark. And it seems to be holding up the market a little bit. So maybe, we go up, we drift up a little bit more, and then we can find a short. If we fall off from here, I think if we get underneath that 41.37 area, we might actually just have to step in and take the shot right then and there. But for now, I am seeing some slight sell side bias with some actual buying happening. So it's in a wait and see mode, because you do see selling, or at least I see some selling, but at the same time I see some buying, but I'm keeping an eye on the shorts. I'm not going to flip to the longs just yet, but at the same time, I'm not going to take the shorts right now either. So it is an interesting area to be in, because we're also sitting above the 41.30 area, which happens to be the support area from last Thursday after we broke 41.50. So we're sitting 10 points from a support area, and we're sitting 10 points from what I would consider to be my stop on a short. So we're sitting dead center, and I'm just looking to get some more information before I decide if I want to take the short now, if I want to wait a little bit, or if I don't even want to take the short and flip to the long side. So I'm going to be waiting, but there's two potential trades here. 41.50 would be your stop to the upside. 41.30 would be your stop to the downside, and just a matter of which side you want to go in at that point.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. We are officially under 30 minutes to go until the open, guys. Let's continue along with what is moving around in the pre-market. Tesla back on the watch list this morning, to the downside again today. If you missed it, Elon Musk in a tweet late in the afternoon yesterday saying that the autopilot, according to the company's logs, was not actually engaged in that fiery crash in Texas that killed a couple of people over the weekend, guys.
I mean, there's a few sort of obvious points there, because there's safety features around the autopilot. Like if you're not hands on the wheel a certain amount of times, did that one even have it? So I mean, there's a lot to be hashed out with this story in particular. But sort of what we said yesterday is, it's not as if this type of thing, and of course as horrific as it is likely to be the primary driver behind any movement in the stock. I mean, you did have a fantastic rally. Some money got taken out by some people, I think, to get into that Coinbase, like we talked about. And it's trying to round out around this 700. You kind of look at the daily chart here. And this little, and you can call it like a pivot or previous resistance point. That's 713, 715 area that we were talking about yesterday. So I still think that's going to be a bit of a test for us on Tesla here. And, we had some trouble in the afternoon trying to break a few times unsuccessfully past that at lunchtime. And then it still was resistant. So I sort of maintained that level. I'll call it 715, maybe the higher end of it, because there were a few tests in the afternoon. And if we cannot break through that, pre-market highs are just $1 above that price. Maybe give it like that 715 to 720 if you want to extend it further. Then Tesla's probably going to remain in that short range today. If there's going to be a break, I'd prefer 720 to 715. That sort of fits with what I saw in yesterday's action. Even if it's going to be a green day today, I look at that Apple like 135, 135.50. It just seems a little bit more clear and clean on the chart, because when we got through 20, or at least when it traded in the pre-market here, I mean, there was lows at 25, all kinds of chop going into that 20 to 25 range. So breaking through this roof doesn't necessarily seem like clean sailing for Tesla, although if it breaks back down, I sort of see the opposite, because you break that 700 and then you have the 80s sort of looming down there, which we're trying to get at the bottom, and it turned out to be 91. So I want to be a bull on Tesla today. I don't know that it's going to be the particular case. If we get through that 720, I'll reevaluate.
I just want to, it's just funny because I was just looking at the S&P there. The S&P up about 12, 13% for the year. And if you look here at Tesla, the beloved stock, of course, you can go back to right here, December 31st. Let's just call it anyways, right around here, January 1st-ish. So right here, 696. Tesla was at the beginning of the year, and today you're going to be touching that 696, 700 anyways. So basically Tesla flat for the year. Who would have thought that the S&P would be up 13% and Tesla would be flat on the year? So I think there's a lot more upside here for Tesla. I think it's like unlimited, to be honest with you. This thing could just rally like unbelievable amounts from this 700 level. I am obviously a Tesla bull, but I do understand that it's going to be news driven for a little bit right now. And, as we get into this car situation, we'll just find out, like, where was this driver? Are they trying to cover something up, which would be worse? I think they should just admit it. If it was an autopilot accident, that happens. I mean, autopilot still, like, the autopilot accidents compared to human assisted accidents is like exponential. So for the human side of it is way higher. I mean, Tesla hasn't had too many mishaps yet. So I believe in, the autopilot program, and I think it just creates more upside for Tesla. So I look to obviously fade it today if we break through some of those levels Neil was talking about, the 700. You could see if that holds. You do have 690 basic bottom yesterday. If you have an opportunity to buy anything in the low 690s, I think that that's a screaming buy, and then you just hold it against you to see if it breaks this 692. So we always preach risk management here. I think that you don't hold anything through 692, but you buy it until it gets there. So that would be my logic. I'm going to put in a bid right now in case we do get a spike down into this like 96, 97, 98 area, somewhere in here where we kind of baselined yesterday before taking off. So if we do get any kind of a dump action, you saw, we're going to get to it in a minute, but we saw Cathie Wood yesterday dump more Virgin Galactic. That stock's probably, going into the teens. We'll see. If it does, that's a great buying spot for it. We'll be buying it up there. But I just wonder if a little bit of negative news now, does she start dumping Tesla? Not that matters that much, but you could get a flush into these mid 600s, which is where my bids will be. 695, 696, somewhere around there. We'll put those bids. I don't think we'll get touched, but we're going to put them there anyways.
Okay, let's continue along in EV world. We'll talk about Fisker here next. Up big time this morning in the pre-market. When I first sat down, it was about 5%. Bank of America initiating coverage on the stock with a buy rating, saying as far as EV companies are concerned, this one is at least above the rest. They kind of excluded Tesla from that group, however, but there's Randy's Ocean front and center there, guys, for Fisker.
Oh, that's Randy's
Nice
car.
looking guy. There was actually a break at 3:30. So I wrote down 3:30 for a breakout on Fisker this morning. This trade actually came right at 8 o'clock. Stepped away for a split second. It only goes 50 pennies, but then look at this nice little retracement that bottoms out at 13.30. Now on the way back in, if you miss a breakout trade, it's not automatic that you like that price, especially in the pre-market. But if we can hold this level, I'd like to take one little defense off the open here just to see if you can't get a secondary push on Fisker worth calling up. And you've seen it a couple of days in a row now, I think, the daily chart on Fisker. So it has it did break below that sort of 14.30, and we talked about that one last week. I think that's probably your first little runway. Oh, there's Sundial actually getting back above $1. So I've been checking that one. It was about to break $1 and just broke back to the upside. So one's on the bid. Still have an idea that I might go long in that. I feel we have room in Fisker that 14.30 area. So I like a 13.30 defense initially off the open. If it breaks that right away, I'd probably look for some kind of a consolidation buy. I want to see it hold some highs, right? You get this many days in a row to the downside. You get some initiation, you get a positive catalyst. You want to see some levels hold before you take 2 or 3 cracks at a long trade. But that 13.30 is what I like. It's going to be right here. It's a little bit too early for me to get this one off of the before the open, and it's too tight to that price. Maybe if it broke 50s again, we'd believe a bit more in that strength. But a couple of pennies and not doing a ton of volume above it isn't really enough to say it's held that 30 level just yet.
Yeah, I also just I just tweeted it out here because I thought it was important that we talked about Fisker yesterday. So you can see that yesterday I was one of the only names that I liked in the EV space. I talked about that with Mark Roberts, so that was something that I wanted to highlight today because we talked about Fisker, and I know I've taken a bath on it. It's been a dumpster fire. That much is obvious. Oh, I got to fix a spelling mistake here in my tweet. My bad. But yeah, downside 12 and change. There's Randy. He didn't get that ocean yet, eh? No, that's not happening yet. Okay, so 1250 break to the upside was a great one. I wish we could have got that during trade, but that never happened, so we didn't have to worry. And then today you're upside 13 and change. Look, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, you can call up anything. Ride, Lordstown with CCIV, Churchill Capital 4. Every stock kind of looks like this. So we were able to get some Fisker out in the mid-20s. I think we revisit that at some point. But like I said, there's only going to be a certain amount of winners in this space. Everybody, like look at CCIV. Like everybody got their money in thinking that every single one of these SPACs was the next Tesla, right? That's not going to happen. There is not going to be a next Tesla, guys. That stock has just been, it was the right moment, it was the right time, it was the right everything. Are these stocks possibly going to go parabolic at some point? Why not? I mean, there's a good opportunity for them to go back to some of these levels, but I think buying calls and holding out hope that these things are going to just 10x year over year, like how Tesla's been doing. Tesla was up something like 1,200% last year, something crazy. So whether or not that happens with some of these names, I don't know, but you get a nice bid here, up 9%. I think it's great news for Fisker. It's the one that I'm invested in, but I haven't bought anything at these low levels. I'm more stuck in the high teens. So let's wait to see where it goes, but I'm a fan of this, and I'm gonna take a ride in Randy's Ocean.
Eventually, once it arrives. Let's talk about Virgin Galactic. The story continues here for space. It was about 5.5% yesterday to the downside, and then we have another 7% to the downside today. We learned last week that founder Richard Branson sold a large chunk of his shares, although he does remain the largest stakeholder in the company. Cathie Wood's ARK Invest coming out after market yesterday, saying that they have sold 590,000 shares of Virgin. Is anyone buying this, guys?
Not till it gets to the teens, I don't think. And look, candidly speaking, we've been talking about this one for a while, like saying, take profit, you got it at 32. That's what I did. I'm still holding on to some of this, but it's a tiny bit. And actually, I want to be a buyer. Like, if it gets down into those teens, I'm not even looking at a defense of $20, to be perfectly honest with you. I want to be, here's the thing. I look at this chart today, and I want to be shorting it. But I see this, it's a really tight consolidation, and I got the feels I have on the kind of thought that, and I guess spidey sense I have on it is sort of similar to Peloton yesterday, where I kind of feel like there might be some buying in this thing off the open, and it might actually make a run through 21 on me. So my gut is saying, let's look back to like 2150 and start thinking, well, I mean, for me anyways, and start thinking about a fade trade above 21, meaning I would like to short it on any kind of a pop. That worked in yesterday in Peloton. If there was one thing I did wrong in Peloton was just a little bit too early to start that position, and maybe could have had a better price. So if it gets back to this previous low, that 2150, I kind of would want to see myself in a position of short, 21 quarter, 21.15 at the absolute worst. That's kind of the idea I would have here. And anything closer to that 21.50 price would mean I've done relatively well. Like I said, if it comes back down to 20, which is the pre-market low, I'm not looking to go long off of 20 even. I'd probably take a short break there. I'm going to assume it's still short sell restricted because, you see this move in yesterday's action. That's more than 10% to the downside. So you can't hit that bid. That's why I'm always going to favor an opportunity to fade into a trade, sell it on some strength if it shows me it's rear head. And if it gets through that $20, then you start thinking about where the bottom might be. And even then, if you're buying them, you have to consider the fact that, they still have to figure out a quicker turnaround on their shuttles so that you can actually get more of them out there. And this is for in the future when they're actually doing some of those tourism flights, which I think is a fantastic idea. at some point there is going to be space tourism, and they have the vision for it. But you really are talking about 4 or 5 years down the line to see some really solid results from them, and they have no revenue. So you got to be willing to hold something like this if you're buying it, which is why you should preach all the patience in the world for the day trade. I don't see a long in it today. I could be wrong, and if I am, trust me, I will take at least 2 cracks at shorting it, and you'll see it here live for sure on Virgin Galactic. Did not hang on to shorts long enough the last time, and did not short it yesterday, which was a huge mistake.
And Neil talked about holding the bag, some on that. I'm holding the bag, some on QS. And I think the point is you got to get out of some of these names before they hit dumpster fire levels. Because, yeah, space, I think it could just continue. Here goes Fisker. I was just watching it again, wondering about what levels to get into. I'm just thinking this 1375 break should be taken. So we'll get an order in for that one coming up. And we were talking about Virgin Galactic. So all that I wrote down here on El Sticky Noto in the middle there was, will 20 hold, right? So we'll find out about that one. Will 20 hold down here? That's, to me, that's just a psychological level. We'll continue to look to see if that does happen. I see everybody talking about Philip Morris. I'll get to that in a minute because I want to share a tweet with you yesterday that we talked about on Philip Morris, but there's Virgin Galactic. We'll just see, man. I mean, it's just been straight to the downside here. And yeah, this, who cares about this 17, 18? This is where I think we got to pick it up, but we'll just see if 20 does fade. And I do see a lot of people talking here on, yeah, we'll get to MO. It's coming, it's coming. I see a lot of people talking on the chat about, does Bitcoin and the S&P 500, I forget where that was, follow each other, everyone buying Dogecoin, things like that. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for a while that as the NASDAQ continues to run up, you're going to see Bitcoin run up as well. I mean, it's just a good feeling for technology. It's a good feeling for asset classes. It's just a good feeling overall for investments, right? So I just think that as the NASDAQ runs, so does Bitcoin a little bit. And you can lay over charts. I mean, obviously Bitcoin has been up. It's doubled this year. NASDAQ hasn't, although pretty close. You're going to see a lot of correlation with those two things, especially like if the NASDAQ tumbles here like 5%, I'd expect Bitcoin to tank like 20%. Like I think there is that much relationship into it. So just get ready. And remember, if there's money in Bitcoin and all of a sudden, the market starts crashing, people need to liquidate themselves, right? People get nervous. So that causes some of those crashes in said coin.
All right, let's get to those tobacco companies. If you joined us in our afternoon show, join us in our afternoon show every single day at 3:15. I was about halfway through. It was about 3:30 yesterday. We learned there was a Wall Street Journal report suggesting that the Biden administration is going to look into possibly reducing the amount of tobacco in cigarettes. So that instantly had all of the tobacco companies selling off quite hard. But this one stood out. This little 22nd Century XXII on the NYSE ARC exchange. You can see we're up another 11% this morning. This is the move we were talking about. MO, Altria, Philip Morris. You can look at British Tobacco as well. All to the downside, equal amounts. But this XXII, a little biotech company whose sole focus is creating tobacco plants, or not sole focus, but primary, that have less nicotine in them, guys. So one that benefited from all the other ones selling off.
I'll jump to this one so we can go to Altria and Philip Morris with Sean here, because I think the story is pretty simple. We talked about this in the afternoon show when it tried to get through that $4 range at that little top here, and there was a nice little retracement short off the top, and I had that short into like 375 as well. So and it was a good short a little bit earlier on as well. So it was a couple of chances you had at that double top, and now we're right here. This is 397. It's not 4 even, but we like round numbers around here. So $4 looks like a breakout spot for me. I think you can still look at that short as long as it rejects 4 even, but it's in that time of day where no averaging into a pop into the high right into the open on a stock that is gapping to the upside. And this has a positive catalyst and is a legitimate company. So, leaning into a short position on day 2 doesn't seem like the right idea. Yesterday, you were just coming off the heels of that spike, and then you were looking at the aftermarket if you like that short. So today, I want to favor the long through that 4 even. I think that 375 area is going to be sort of a key price. And we did have some consolidation aftermarket there, but also on the way down, it did manage to hold that at 330, as Brennan was mentioning, and that's when you saw the capitulation to 350. So if it breaks below 375, I'll get bearish on it for sure. But for now, looking through the long break.
I mean, those of you that were watching the afternoon show, you know all about this tweet. This was me. I put the headline out yesterday at about 3:15. You can see down here. And then I just went right over to MO. And again, like, trade what you know. So Philip Morris was the very first name that came, or Altria, sorry, was the very first, and Philip Morris should have gone to PM as well. But Altria was the very first name that I thought of. And yeah, well rewarded, man. 51.90. We actually wound up getting this out at 49. But there was the first trade that I took on this. So yeah, we're going to be all over that today. We're out 49.60 or so. But look, okay, here's Fisker. Oh, first of all, so I make the key mistake, but on purpose this time at least, so it wasn't a mistake, to take a bid through the high of the day before the market even opens. So I'm now long Fisker right here, 75. You can see it on the board. You'll see it down there. 77? Oh, 1376.6. So yeah, round that up, 77 irrelevant. We're going to see if it goes higher now. Here it goes back into the money right now on FSR. But we're going to talk about MO. So yeah, this is the name that I like. Already 1.3 million shares. So there's obviously something here. You can see the market just continuing to move to the downside. I guess they believe that Joe Biden and the Senate and whoever is going to be looking at this can get something done here. That would be horrendous. Like this move, first of all, there it is, Fisker. Just took out 6 cents there. We were waiting for more, but we just took some out. You know what? I don't know where this ends, Brendan, but to me, it looks pretty nasty. You've already broken that 50 period. We're right back into this support area of 44, 45 now. You do have some tops back in September that we can look at, 44 there, and then the 44 bottom. But guys, believe me when I'm telling you, and I don't need to tell you this because you know that, like anybody smoking, I mean, it's an addictive thing. And if they take away the nicotine content, will that still be attractive to current smokers? I don't know. And I just think that this is just a monster decision. This is a monster headline for them. And it's just a game changer for the business and for the environment. So I can't see myself going long at any point here. I mean, the market hasn't even opened, man. And we went from 48 down to 45 on a major name. I mean, there's other names too, probably doing the same thing. But look, 161,000. You see the difference? This is why I'm not so concerned with Philip Morris. I mean, the same kind of chart, still down 91 to 89. But look at the dramatic move here in MO. I mean, this is down 7%. You could see big time movement and 1.37 million shares. So that's why I'm looking at that one. And not only that, I didn't even notice this. This is good. So Fisker, a nice bid here. We're long that already, and we're looking to go short MO. So here is the famous imbalance locator for you guys here. The NASDAQ comes in 6 minutes at 9:28. But right now, the only two that are of some sort of interest, I guess some people are holding Pfizer, right? SOS, Bitcoin. But MO there, 738,000 shares to sell at open, obviously providing a lot of pressure. Brendan, I wish I had a spot to give everybody to the downside. I would just say, let's just watch it. If you see size and it's breaking, then you just punch short and you watch it fall down. I mean, that's really the only information I can give you guys. If you are going to be short it, though, don't squeeze yourself all the way back upside. Keep your eyes posted for headlines, and Brendan will give those to you.
Yeah, very important, I think, to mention that. One of those stories that more to come, I feel, for both, Philip Morris, BTI, another one as well, Mo, as Sean was saying. Let's go to UAL, guys. I want to talk about some of the airlines here, see if there's an opportunity. UAL coming out reporting a $1.4 billion loss in its current quarter, talking about how they still have plenty of liquidity on hand for carrying forward as long as this pandemic goes. But we've seen in the past, over the past couple of quarters, when airlines and cruise operators report, the market has kind of shrugged it off. This one's a little bit different. We did see an actual move for UAL. Yeah,
downside. So, I mean, I'm not always the biggest fan of the airline, so it kind of feels like you guys know what I'm going to say here. I looked to the last time we got to this price area and UAL made a bounce. You're going to see like 53.40. You had a flush out to this, 54, 53 at 80 or so. You had a flush out to that price, and then you had the rebound. So that to me is going to stand out as potential resistance on UAL on this number, and it's essentially right here, right now. And if it tries to pop through at that open, I'm kind of looking for we call it like the fail break, which means we try to get back through that like high 53.80 price, that 54 area that we talked about, fail to do so, and if it can't, that's sell it for sure. So I'm selling on any strength here, and it's the same thing. It's a little bit different because you actually have a level here with. I'm with you, Sean, on Altria. I want to sell in any strength that it has. I just don't know where you pick a price. And on a UAL, I look at those high 53s, like that 53.80ish area, and say, okay, yeah, if it can't pump through 54 and find a bid, I want to be shorting into that name. So a lot of overall weakness. It's a weird place that the only bid. I mean, I'm bidding in Fisker if it comes back at 13.50, and I'm bidding on Sundial at 01s in front of $1 because. Well, it's 420 and the stock is above $1 and looking to make a bit of a defense, but not in the airlines, not in UAL, not after that report, looking to fade that strength, any strength it has.
Yeah, I wanted to, and it's part of my Smash City thing here. We're going to try to go short on 53. So, I mean, I would love it to pull back in or pull back up, I guess. So we do have, like, I mean, I don't need to talk about all the same levels Neil did, but, you know, if it does go upside, it's not a great report. COVID running rampant everywhere in the world right now. UAL, although, you know, a lot of domestic flights, a lot of international. If you're looking domestic, we talked about Southwest, you know, is the place to look. Spirit, stuff like that. But right now, Delta, it tried to make a move. I mean, this is the daily chart. You know, it did break out here past 56, but now we get the fail. It would have been a much different story if we had gone above these levels, but now we're below. So now we look out here, $50. We'll see if that can hold all the way back to December. So I like that $50 range there on Mr. United, but I do like a 53 break downside, guys.
All right, one more to talk about this direction. Small cap, MYMD. This is the result of Acres Bioscience taking out MYMD Pharmaceuticals. So day number 2, you can see day 1 yesterday for this thing. Acres has been around forever, but they merged, so this is now day 2 for this. I wanted to mention 620. It's trading there right now. That was the high from yesterday. So if we hold 620, look for a move back to 680, which was the top from the pre-market. Above 7, though, I mean, this thing could go forever, I feel, for MYMD. Neil. Yeah,
I would watch out for that. I'm just double checking to see if we actually got those, got the locates on MYMD. Wanted to be short. There's another one that, I mean, as fast as they come up, they come down. Anyone looking at BAOS? No longer a gap play. The Chinese company, like, basically inked a deal on some, I don't know, whatever, some like crypto servers or something along those lines. It was a bit ridiculous seeing it run up to like 750. Couldn't even get locates until it was basically back to flat, and it's right back down there again. So sometimes they go up and come down even faster than before. Just to recap a couple of names here. I want to go back to, with only like 3 minutes to go to the open, going to 22nd Century. It does reverse off of that $4, at least initially, but I'm not going to be bearish just yet. I don't want to sell on any strength that goes into $4. If it gets below that 75, I think we got a bit of a different story. And then Virgin Galactic here, just to come back to it. I already talked to you guys about Sundial. I could get hit on that bid, but there's just a ton of liquidity. Way more liquidity than I was expecting on Sundial, given the amount of volume that it's done. Virgin Galactic, I'm actually sitting up here, got to start a position above that 21. If it breaks 21, I'll get it. I'm actually not averse to starting a position short side in front of 21, but I'd like to see what happens off of that open. You did see a bit of a sell and bounce, and bounces aren't huge this morning. But that doesn't mean you can't get some actual movement. And if there's any buying in in Virgin Galactic space, I'd like to be shorting into that buy action. So for me, I'm going to be a bear on that particular name. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. FSR, which is already running, I know for you there, Sean, I'm looking for at that open. If we come right back in, those are the bids. We talked about the 1330. We talked about that 1350 area. Can I take out 14? Maybe. I don't like breakouts at 930, so I'm going to wait for a pullback.
Yeah, we're already smashing it, and we've already got a beautiful winner for us. So we'll see. We're punching Fisker. Like, still stuck on the UAL chart, but there we go. We took another out there at 92. We'll see how far it wants to go. You can see that's the out there. We have them layered up. I mean, this thing could crash. I didn't expect, honestly, like when I made the call yesterday for Fisker, I was not expecting, like, all of a sudden 1 day later, we'd be so much in the money here and make these kind of calls. So, I mean, we'll wait to see where the action is, but we're just bouncing around now, 87, 88, 89. Going to be interesting where it opens up. NASDAQ imbalances, we'll check those out.
Hey, Sean, just quickly here, Coinbase just had like a $5 drop off 337 here into 330 before bouncing. Missed out on 328 too many times. Got it once yesterday and not enough times after that. If it gets anywhere close back in, and I'll call it now like 330 instead of 328, into that 330 range, I want to look at the amount of defense. There was like 1 or 2 trades to the long side on Coinbase. I don't want to miss it today.
Yeah, nobody wants to miss that Coinbase money. Okay, so yeah, Coin, I just put an order there too. Remember that 328, very, very important. Okay, so Fisker, we're just talking about that. We just took another piece out there. Good trade on that one. UAL, possibly to fade into that with only 40 seconds to go right now on the bell. And if you can guess who's going to be on it, you will win one free viewing of Trader TV Live's afternoon show. $54 coming on UAL, a decent short opportunity here as well. We're going to take 53 to the short side.
Yeah, you gotta love UAL's weakness for sure, but you know what time it is, and if he's hinting at it, you know who it is. The man that breaks the bell every single time he does it. We'll see what he has in store for us. Randy, Trader TV Randy, that is. I should get it right here, but let's drop that countdown. It is Tuesday. Coinbase still dropping into that 330. Might get this one pretty quick here, but there's Randy. 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring that bell. Let's get the. Oh, got some sundial. Immediately got some UAL, and I might actually spread trade a little bit. Sundial immediately retests that 101 area, and then trying to pick up some of this Coinbase. I don't know if it's going to get down to that 330 price, guys, but it's still selling off into that open. Look at that flush, guys.
We should have never got UAL there because it didn't break. So there was a break down there through 53. That never happened, I don't think. So we did get short, so we'll average into our short and then just use 54.50 or so. Yeah, maybe 54.20 here as an out, but I averaged into that position. So we take that break there, 53. That's not even a 53 break, but we did take that 53.20, and then we have another average up price, 53.60. So this one's going nicely into the money. Short 53.30 right now on UAL and looking to make moves to the downside. Let's get out if this breaks 53. We'll get out below it a little bit, and this thing should spike to like 52.80, 52.70, guys. NASDAQ taking off here.
Yeah, I mean, I got 53.58 on that little spike, so shorting on the spike was a good call there. Did not get that 330 on Coinbase. Looks like it didn't quite get down there. Very, very close, though. And Sundial got some 01s and 02s. Brennan?
This MYMD we mentioned instantly halts here, guys, at the open. Halted at 7, volatility to the upside.
Oh, I need locates on that.
Man, we have lots of stuff going on here. We have, I mean, not too many positions, but there goes UAL. Let's see now. I told you if it breaks through 53, we'll wait in the 80s, so that's what we're doing. A nice little 50-cent win right now. A 50-cent win for Coinbase. We pick up some 331s there. So let's see if this one wants to drop or pop here for Coinbase. We have our 328 out. Again, it goes into the money $1, but we don't take it. We're waiting for more here on Coin, guys.
And just going to get some orders on Virgin Galactic. I've actually re-entered. So look, I only got the one entry up here at 53.58. I've re-entered on that little break to the downside. So a couple of scalp trades on UAL. And now finally got that Coinbase trade. So it's immediately testing that 330. Now, this is what happened in that final minute going into the open. Right off of this 329 area. I know 328 was the better buy. But I look at that 330 and say to myself, I mean, you can have a $7 drop on a stock, which had stabilized a ton in the last couple of sessions. I mean, I'll risk $1 to see if you can't get a pullback into 33.34.
So we're just ringing some serious registers right now. We go, Mamma Mia, and we'll throw out some hot dogs because there's a nice little short for us on UAL. So, you know, a big trade there. Really happy to put this on. We shorted into 54. We talked about that. Out. So right now, 75-cent winner right now plus on UAL. No downside here. Let's just keep on tracking this one. Fisker, wow, very, very violent. Now, it's not even open yet, but your boy's done it. Bang, with a big win here on Fisker to the upside, man. We just let this thing settle down. I don't even know if it's open yet. Up to 14. It's not even open yet, man. And we have a monster on here for Fisker. UAL, 55 cents in the money. And Fisker, I think, is going to explode. Not even open yet here. So that's why we just took some out at 14 there. I mean, this thing could tank. That's why we celebrate. We put some money in our pocket. And now let's wait to see it's having some problems. Not even open yet, FSR.
Yeah, I mean, is Virgin Galactic here? I'm not even. Oh, I think we are actually open on this one. I just got some shorts at 20.90, but trying to add to the position. I said I would be willing to take some if it turned below 21. Of course, I wanted 21.50s, I wanted 21.25s, all that good stuff. But we'll take some shares in front of 21. I'm only short side in the street. I re-entered UAL. and I'm going to take some off. If we talk about quarters and 50s, if it breaks that, and it just did, that 52.50, I'm going to take some more shares off. So this one is a pretty good one. It's a slap in the face to anyone on that long side of that trade. Watch out, Sundial. I made some spread there, ones and twos, getting twos and threes, but now it could break one even. And of course, I'm going to be shorting space until it breaks my back.
Brendo.
Microvision, guys, one of the LiDAR companies just popping up here. Not seeing any significant headlines so far, but right through 11, like it wasn't there at the open. We're up to 1150 on volume for MVIS.
Okay, so, I mean, things are just popping off right now. Fisker 15, I mean, is it open now? Yeah, it looks like it's open. Okay, so we'll settle this down now. Fisker, let's go. Let's moon, baby. A quick 20 cents for this one, and we'll spin this. This is what's happening right now for UAL, guys. $70 now in the money on UAL. Fisker just opened up, so let's take a little bit more out here. So we just did that on Fisker. It opened up there. We got out some 1406s, 14s. Let's just keep on going to the high side on that one. And let's maybe get one more piece out here on UAL. It goes all the way down to 52.50. Let's put a bid there. I don't want to miss that in case that happens again. But look at the S&P. See ya to the downside.
Yeah, I mean, I see UAL trying to spike back up, and I'm almost thinking, can I reload around that 53? Now, I did miss the chance there the first time through. I'll take another crack at it if it goes. I can tell you, Coinbase broke. There was the break on Coinbase of 330, so I did get out of that one. And guess what actually broke below $1? So I tried a long on Sundial, and it shows you, I mean, a little bit of weakness here. We've got a couple of longs, made a spread each time, made about a penny, then breaks the one, and I get out at 99. So it looks like, once again, no sustained movement in Sundial. I'm going to have to turn bear in front of a buck.
Oh, shit. Look at what is happening right now. We'll slay this dragon. What up, Fisker? Really happy with this movement. We're getting back to near positive on our own account, but Fisker with a nice 15% move up today. We told you there was going to be some winners in this space. I gave you Fisker yesterday, so hit the rewind. How many people are going to give you those kind of calls? This was a fluke, though, so can't big it up that much. Had no idea Fisker was going to move up, but again, you do your research and you stick with the solid companies, and Fisker just one of those. Again, my greed on, first of all, UAL, big win, just keeps on going down. My greed here on Coinbase appears to be evident because this was a winner for us. We went into the money about $2 or $3. Now this is going to come crashing back down through. It already took out that 328 level, so it just looks like a downside move here for Coin, but that's okay. We've made our money on other names. Let's just hope to get out. There's Fisker, by the way. We just took out some 20s there, Brendan. 50-cent move on that one. What up?
Initial buying coming in on some of the tobacco companies. Just pulled up Mo here on a volume alert through 46.50. It is coming back a little bit, but we got a hold of 46. You might continue to the upside. That XXII coming down as well, guys.
Yeah, just I've re-entered into Coinbase. The low yesterday was 326 at like 75 area. So if it breaks through that, then that'll be a further capitulation. But I took a tight stop long in front of 330, and then now looking at yesterday's close. And a lot of the reason for this is you've just had and I say stability in the stock. It just wasn't that volatile the last couple of sessions. And I think if it stays in a range, I'm going to like it. It's popped in the money a little bit, but I want to see us back at least testing 330 before I think there's any kind of success story in this particular long. I still have Virgin Galactic. Obviously, it's starting to not base out. I mean, base out would be if it was strong. It's starting to consolidate here after sort of testing up. I tried to catch some 2110s when it spiked to 20. I like to get more shares on the way down. You'll see here when it turns around, pick up some. When it bounces the upside, I want to short on every single sort of retracement back in. I did miss it last time I got it the first time. I didn't miss it at 2110 last time. I might have to pick shares up below 21 as I just chase it there. So Virgin Galactic, I was kind of thinking that kind of a term would be at 2150. I'm going to stay short until I'm wrong, guys.
Yeah, I wanted to smash. Yeah, you're not going to be wrong. I don't think that's going to be a good short there for sure. Okay, so we got out a little bit there on Coinbase, but we got right back in. So we did realize the hit. There's no doubt about that one, but we're back in now. 328.38. My initial long was 331. You guys know that, but the way we account for that, so that's a $3 loss. Now we're going to go long and see if we can't make it back. We'll see. Hopefully we can do that. Fire off the hot dog cannons, guys. I mean, UAL, if you want anything and you want to talk about what we're doing here and what I'm doing, Look at this. UAL, it's right by my finger there. 53 with multiple stars to smash that thing. It's down to 52.20. We were able to get short, and I said about this as well, that we would like some up shorts. It's funny because my other short is at 87 up here. We got as high as 80, but we take the 60s, we take the 26s, and now you're $1.30 now in the money on this thing. Fisker comes all the way back, but guess what? We only have 10% left. Coinbase now ripping up as well. What up, B?
One note we didn't get to in the pre-market, guys. Boeing down this morning. It was in the pre-market significantly now, 239, trying to hold here, but their CFO announcing retirement today. So a little bit of negativity here for Boeing, guys.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for them. I'm going to get to Boeing in a quick second. I wanted to come back to YVR if I could. One that we did talk about. It does break. It did break that 3, but holds that 275 I mentioned. So now for now, I'm going to put that $3 sort of breakout or 310 breakout, I should say. Throw it out the window. I just got into Sundial in front of $1. I want to see what kind of an offer it has there. Basically short 99.5 cents there. I want to be now fading YVR into that 290 range. So it's shown some weakness. I'm going to flip from a breakout, which is far away, like 10%, into a bear trade, guys. So let's look for YVR in and around VWAP to be able to get a short. And Virgin Galactic still giving me prices in that high 80 range. Only place to add, it seems.
Yeah. So right now we're holding on. I don't know. We're already cashed out on UAL, man. Let's see how far this one wants to go. Fisker, like I said, right back to that price. Let's see if we get some out in the high 80s again. I don't want this thing to go all the way back down. I couldn't believe that run. So there it is. One more out. Now we're holding 5% and we're done on Fisker. We're going to give Coinbase back down. Here it comes crashing, guys.
Out.
Yeah, back to 320. There it comes. I mean, I was going to say back to 325, but that came a lot faster than we thought there. So this is going to be yet again another hit. So there it goes. We are going to be negative on Coinbase today, just crashing to the downside. I don't think crypto's doing much. We could check in on that. It doesn't look like it. This is a 5-minute on Bitcoin. We're still high, not doing much. We'll drop it down to a 1-minute. I don't see anything. Let's move this over. I figured out how to do this, guys. But yeah, I don't really see anything here in crypto. So Coinbase just moving around like an IPO stock, direct listing. It's going to have to find its base. We already talked about that 320, maybe even 310 comes into play at some point here.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like it's going to be true. Just want to show you guys. Look, obviously, there's not many levels to talk about here, but this is 316, 317 area, and then of course you have that flush out 310. I mean, if it gets to 300, that's uncharted territories for Coinbase. Thankfully, tight stops both times, but this is starting to really accelerate. And keep in mind, this is about like a $5 move. This all started at just 337, and that is a rapid movement to the downside. So I'm not going to jump in front of that sword any more times here. I do want to come back to Virgin Galactic. I sort of have said what the master plan was going to be. I missed it at 21. I showed you guys missed it at 21.10. I tried to get shares at 95s. I've gotten some in the 80s. My average price is 20.87, despite my best efforts to try and get some on the way down. I probably should have just like Peloton stepped into it on the way up, although I was trying to do a little bit better in my entry points there. As it gets towards that 50, I can start taking some shares off. And then I want to make sure I leave some for the low of the day and a 20 break, which I'm also hammering. Brendan?
10-minute volatility hold for MYMD to get things going. So it did open back up at 750, guys, coming back into 7 here. 60% now for that one.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, so we are also into that space action right now. We're short 73s into here. I like that 80 break on that one. I didn't have my order ready enough for that, so we did get 73s there. We took it twice on that. So we missed that 80 break, but we're able to get 75s. I liked that 80 break. It touched it a whole. There we go. So now we're into more short. I'm only going to give this one back up. I mean, I have too many shares right now already. I don't have too many, but more than I would want. 21.20, the high of the day there on space. Probably give it to that, but it will be a big hit. Not a big hit, but it'll be a hit if that does come through. Maybe this is beat down too much now. I mean, just a prediction at this point. No idea how far this one wants to go, but I think it's worth getting in more short here just to build our average price. But we're loaded up here, guys. So you're going to see me go crazy if this thing starts winning.
Yeah, I mean, I just checked again for that MYMD for locates and couldn't pick them up. But there was a little bit of strength here into Altria. It did pop to 47. Now, I didn't have any prices for a turnaround. If I had been watching this instead of a couple of other names, I'm watching Coinbase now at 323 and watching, of course, Sundial and Virgin Galactic, I think I would have tried something at 47. I feel like if it gets another push into 46, like call it 30 to 50, I'll take a quick shot at this one. But a little bit of a bid and a little bit of buying action coming into Altria, at least for now. I think it'll be a little bit short-lived, but Coinbase, it's getting close to that 320 level. For sure, I'm defending 310. The way it's falling, I don't know if I want to bid 320s.
Yeah, we talked, I don't know either. I mean, I'm holding on to something small just to watch this thing here, Coinbase. But we still are long that 327. We've dumped it off a little bit, but we're still holding just a little. I'll probably put another bid like around 322, which is coming fast. We'll put another bid around there, and then we'll just get out if it breaks this bottom of the day, 321.50. I can't keep chasing these dreams. So we're going to be out of that one right now. Virgin, yeah, we just took another short. This is too many times averaged in here. It's just we didn't take many shares here. You're seeing our average price is 80, so that's kind of where I wanted it to be, and I'm comfortable holding as many shares as I have, although I wish I had less as it's moving against me, but I still hope for that. I'm still waiting for a top break. Looks like it's coming down. Damn it, should not have taken this trade, but 21.25 looks like that's going to break the top here. I should not be in this. This is a stupid play. What's up, Brendo?
Just felt like this was going to be a wild one today. MYMD, guys, opens up straight to the downside. Halted again. Southbound this time for MYMD.
Yeah, just to get you guys back over to, it's 420. You guys know what that is all about. And sort of was laying in the weeds here on this as it popped back up to $1. I got 93.3, so again, around 99.5. I always say here, if you I start taking profit when it gets to 1.5%, 2% every single time on a penny stock. Every time. That's just how it's going to be. 93 to 95 was at that ending range where it couldn't seem to break any lower than that 93. So I'll take some more shares in front of 95. I actually want to be flat if this short gets to 93 and then look for a rebound. I feel like the strength isn't necessarily done in this 420 play just yet. But that was a pretty big failed break when it tried to make that break off of $1. I had the long. I got a couple of $1 scalp trades and gave it all back, losing 2 cents on the rest of the trade. Miss V, big screen.
Hey Neil, Tesla made a huge spike to the upside at the open and stock keep going to the moon. Do you consider trading Tesla today, guys?
I'm going to be sick because I had just replaced the Tesla chart where my Tesla chart sits in the same spot every single time, and I moved it today so I could monitor Virgin Galactic a little bit more. And of course, I mean, that 715, yeah, of course it's going to break 715 and head to the upside. So moonshot day on Tesla. It goes right through that area that I thought would be a little bit of trouble. Now that it's come, I mean, I don't know, 740 is going to stick out like a sore thumb. Do I put the shorts on? I don't know. I'm getting Virgin Galactic right into that 25 to 50 area where I certainly wanted to make that defense. It's going to be just like Peloton, people, where you have to really dig in. Tesla's a bit of a different story if you're going to be shorting this into 740, but that's a monster move. We didn't think the news story was going to be too big of a catalyst. I just thought the market might be weak today.
It's funny because even as I'm sitting here averaging into this space, this Virgin Galactic, I said it was a ridiculous trade. And yeah, it was. And again, I just, we're trading with different, I got out there, so I had to. So we'll wait to see where this one goes. Now, I did take a small short in, so I can't make this back, but if it does come all the way back here, then that'll be a decent little position for me. Obviously, I had too many shares there for the downside. We hadn't looked, or for the upside, we hadn't looked at IBM yet. That's a good name, I think, anyways. 138, we talked about that. That was one of the ones where we said, will it hold that 136? It did, and then 138 smash side. So I have some low bids here at 137. Doesn't look like we're going to get back there, though. What up, B?
We talked airlines, but not the cruise lines, guys. CCL, I just noticed, down 3% here, 3.3%, struggling at day lows. UBS cutting its price target today, 41 from 42. Not a huge move, but CCL under pressure, guys.
Oh, I see you, CCL. That's probably going to be worth a look as well. And they're going to move lockstep. I think you trade UAL because it had the particular story going with it and the poor numbers there, and that's why we're going to pick on it. But CCL usually is the better trading vehicle. My attention has been drawn over to Tesla now, at least a little bit. And we didn't quite get to that 740, but there is a bit of a turn shy of that in front of like 35s. I kind of feel like if I liked that 715 to 720 area, I'm going to have to like it on a dip. So I'm going to look to see if Tesla can't retrace into like 21, maybe not 22s, like 21s, maybe even that 20 area, and then get a little bit of a bounce play. Because I missed out on that breakout through 15, obviously. I want to see if there's a dip buy, and then maybe you get the run to 740 after that.
Yep. Okay, so I've taken more short here on space. And I got a decent position now, so it's fine. And I am waiting for this top to break, 2150 or so to the upside now. That'll be that spot. So we are reloaded back into the short. So, again, decent amount of shares too. So we can hopefully make this back if we get back to VWAP. But like I knew this trade was a little bit in trouble here when this kind of started happening. That was kind of an easy one to get out of, but we did give it back to the day's high, got stopped out there. Again, you're going to see me make these wicks all the time as we just, play the proper amount of risk. So for me, that's a good trade. Well, not a good trade, but a good risk management. Now we'll go back short once we see that fail. Obviously, I wish I'd put this a little bit higher, but again, you got to try to manage that risk that you're taking every day. So that's where I did that. Other than that, man, UAL, I mean, this is why this day is just fine, because we have one. I mean, you don't see any stars besides space here, right? You don't see anything like that besides space, but what do you see beside UAL there? 53 with monster moves to the downside. So there you go. Like that's basically how I trade. Put more risk into ideas that I like, and there it is. Bang, bang, bang. UAL. About time maybe to cash this out. We are getting into this area right now that I'm pretty happy with. 51, like 51 even is a great little spot. So if we can get some 51.50s, I'll do that. We'll put $2 in our pocket and just laugh our way to the bank here on UAL. But we have to pick up the pieces on some of these other crappy trades like Virgin Galactic.
And watch out, someone noting GameStop on the move here a little bit. So it just cracked 160. I wasn't monitoring it. I am now looking at that name as well. 95 was that next little level we talked about on Sundial. So as it gets down to that price, still got that 99.3s. There hasn't been a good enough spike for me to average into this short. But if it breaks 95, we talked about 93s, that key level there. Tesla doesn't even rebound. It goes to like 28s, and it's right back up to 31. So Tesla looking very strong. Guess I'm not getting 21s to the long side. Brendan?
Another little one having a good day today. Nano Dimensions, NNDM, came back down yesterday to this prior low over here on the daily chart and seemingly bounced. So I'm not seeing anything significant as far as news, but 13%. Nice move for NNDM.
Nano Dimension. I want to get back to that 22nd century for a second because I did flip bearish on it. I did want to pick some shares up if it got back to 75. I know it very briefly consolidated at that 75 range. I'm going to stick with the same plan, but I had to start something maybe in the high 60s to get involved in this. It's a great story and a good, and certainly, not even a bad company, but you got that big movement to the upside. It's now rejected off $4, and that's the key thing for me. Double top at 4 from yesterday, now looking at today. That's going to mean a fade. If it pops into VWAP, I'll look to get short that name. Tesla taking out the top, so that's really, really not going to give me that dip buy. 340 is coming pretty quickly. 740 is coming pretty quickly.
Yeah. I'm really beside myself on this stupid Virgin Galactic. Like everything else has been fantastic. Look at Fisker, guys. If you want to talk about hitting good plays and hitting them pretty hard, this Fisker one, I told you that we don't normally take these top breaks. And when I did, I was a little nervous, which is why we got most of these out, like 94, 95, our top play there. And then all of a sudden, this wick, which I don't even think happened, got me out because I did put down here, I didn't want this trade to turn negative on me. So we did get our last piece out there. So we did not enjoy this move up to 1460. Wowzers there on FSR. So, I mean, that was a big move to say the least. We talked about Apple having some sort of a day today. And I said it was going to be a nothing burger. It looks like that is the truth here on Apple. Apple right now flat on the day and just up and down and not much happening. I do like Facebook as well. Facebook right near that 300. Okay, here we go. Market coming down now. Maybe that, like I said, that lousy space will eventually come through for me. But okay, now I have a crash chart. I'm going to reload this daily chart here, or this minute chart for Facebook.
I just want to over the MVIS. I know Brendan briefly talked about it very quickly here. First pullback is in on Microvision. Well, I mean, first pullback so far today is in on Microvision, and it's going to be right at this shelf at 1225 or just shy of it. I sort of look back to these previous peaks, call it 1150 area and 1165. Which we're basically at right here. I think if you're going to get any kind of a turn, daily chart all screwed up there, kind of a turn, it's VWAP, it's also at this particular area. So I'm bearish if it gets cracks down below it. If it can try to make any kind of a bounce, I think you make another run at the high. And usually I'm trying to fade like a short position off of that 12. So I think there's a scalp probably from 70 to 95, and then I'd be looking to go back into the short side of the trade. I have one more ad, and then 21.55 was the price that we mentioned in Virgin Galactic. And this one could end up exactly like Peloton. Peloton yesterday was at that 72.75. Sorry, what was that? 107.75. Sorry, 112.75, and it went to like 10 cents from my out, and that was the actual turn. Could be the same thing here in Virgin Galactic. Brendan?
One from yesterday. Harley Davidson just popping back up here. Day 2 through 46 here was pretty good. 5% again today. Watch that high from yesterday, though, 46.50. Right here, right now, guys, for HOG.
Yeah, hog, get on that hog. We've had them. We did have a couple of representatives from a Harley Davidson dealership come through back in the day. That'd be fun if we could do that again. Yeah, support those guys. Get on that hog ASAP. Okay, IBM still not doing too much here, guys. We are looking, of course, at space, which trying to come back down. I'm short at 16. I don't know. I hope that was the move and that was it. So we can make this all back easily. We just need it to come back in. So we'll wait for that one. I don't know. We have that same out there in the 50s. So we'll wait to see if that can come through. We keep talking about the same plays here. Let's go over to Emma. Yeah, go ahead.
We're saying that I don't know if I want to defend, like, I took a tight stop trade at 330, willing to risk basically less than $1 on the trade. Same thing down at like that 327, and then I don't do it here at 320, and then of course this is where Coinbase makes the bounce. So the story here is I should have taken every single turnaround, and when you have a tight stop, if you're giving it room, you're working a position. If you're giving tight stops because you intend on getting back in at a better price. It didn't do that in Coinbase. 320 is held. Looks like that's going to be the level for now. I also want to come. I mentioned GameStop. I didn't throw the chart up so you guys can see what was happening. One of our viewers, thank you very much for letting us know that there was some actual movement on GameStop today. It's down only 3%. Here's a 15-minute chart. But there was all kinds of, and this is the last couple of sessions going into last week as well, all kinds of support if it gets down to this like 152 to 154. So I'm looking for GameStop to make a move into that range before I get too involved in it. If it wants to pop back up to 165 and give me a second shot at a short, that's fine by me.
I was looking here at my favorite. Oh, yeah. So I want to talk about MO quickly here. It does make that move up, which is a surprise to me. I wish I would have seen that because I was talking about shorting these things. Now we'll wait to see what it does near this bottom, 43, 45, 38. Looks like it's coming fast here. That could be a decent short opportunity. We still have some Coinbase 327. But again, we never actually wound up taking anything here. Remember, I was going to take that 321. I don't know how we missed that. I don't even have a bid in there. I was going to go long here and wait for this bottom to break. I guess I didn't put that trade in. Oh well, another missed opportunity on that one. Damn it. DraftKings bouncing 56, not doing much. Facebook's back to 302. The name I wanted to look at, I know I'm pissed off about Coinbase because I actually thought I had that long and I don't. I only have it at 327. Microsoft, I want to get long if it comes back into here, so 359.50. Let's put some bids and see if we can't defend this high move today, up that 0.4%. Again, 359.50 coming through on Microsoft. We're going to take that one, and we can make this all back, man, on space if it can just get going again, breaking back down through 21. We're short right here at 16. This should be a good spot for us. We've already taken a hit on it, but we didn't get out of everything. We've averaged in, so that one's coming back in. So I am going to put an order now on Mr. Softy right now into the 50s. Hopefully we didn't crack too much lower than that. Yeah, here it comes. Starter position on Softy, guys.
Yeah, and I just want to come back over to Tesla. I'm going to cancel that bid. I mean, you forget about the dip buy. When it makes the extended move, I thought if that turn's going to get to 720, fair enough, I would buy that dip. Now that we've actually extended to 35s, I'll probably look back to like the 24 to 25 range on Tesla to see if it actually has any kind of pullback. And it's still tracking GameStop, which is looking rather weak. And Virgin Galactic, right back in those teens. I got a price of 10s. I didn't get my final ad in that position as Tesla tries to roll over. I never got any more shares of Sundial either. So this one continues to look rather weak. Just keep in mind, if it breaks 95, there was a level at 93 that I was actually shorting into right around that close, actually in our 315 show. So I do expect a tiny bit of support there on 420. Brendan?
Palantir, guys, once again, a few people mentioning it, but Palantir trying to hold this 22 once again. We've been here before many times. Decent volume coming in today. There was a little headline talking about this partnership with Ringier. They extended a current partnership, but nothing else significant as far as headlines for Palantir, but positive today.
Oh, I can't believe I haven't traded Palantir yet today. Okay, I made a keystroke error and got out of Coinbase. Pissed off about that one. Okay, Palantir, we wrote it down today. Hold. Will it hold that 2150? Obviously, based on Brendan's report, the answer is hell yeah on will it hold that 2150. And geez, did it ever, man. In the pre-market, you had 2160. I still see my bid, so I knew they held. I had a bid at 66. I had a bid at 55 to hold that bottom spot. We never got filled on our 66 bid, although that would have been pretty nice. Ripping to the high side. Palantir today up that 1.8%. Look, when Palantir goes, we like this stock. We like it a lot, those of you that know that. So I think you can get it back here, man. Let's see if we get some 22s, and then we'll see if there's any 22 love for that holds position. So you can see if you push it back. Here's a 20-minute chart on Palantir.
Whoa.
We can hold that 22 level right here. So we'll see. I mean, it was the drop down spot yesterday morning, and we never got back, and then we held it as resistance in the afternoon. So let's now use it as support. 22. What up, B?
And he has way too much fun when he's here. Just going to mention this NNDM. Some people talking about Kathy Wood's ARC buying more. I did note that. But here's another headline for you on NNDM, guys. 17% after the company acquires machine learning company DeepCube as well, guys.
Another stock running and right back into a key level here is QuantumScape. Base is out at that 31, so much for 30. Being a thing, 31 clearly was it from yesterday, and right into these previous lows. So you go to last week, and the bottom was this 34, 34. If it gets back in and retests the top end of this range, like 35, 50 or so, and rolls over, I'd be looking for a retracement short. GameStop is bounced, so I can kind of throw that one out the window. MVIS, it tried. Whoops. Why did that not flip? Of course, my chart didn't flip. Let's see if we can't do it this way. MVIS just tried to hold that sort of VWAP area. The pullback is getting even deeper. I'll take one crack at it. I want to see consolidation. If it's going to be off that pre-market high, previous pre-market high, 1120, then so be it. I still only have sundial space and UAL to the short side. Looking for sort of a rebound long, but MVIS, you get these pullbacks. And again, sometimes I'll play the short side of a trade. I'm not really there yet on MVIS. I'd like to see if one crack you can hold above previous pre-market tops, 1120.
We didn't get any of our softy there, and we are waiting for Palantir to come back in. We may take a little bid here at this VWAP spot, but not quite certain yet. I would rather get a little bit lower on Palantir. I mean, if we can get something in the teens, that would be much, much better of a situation for me there. Space does go into the money. We don't take any out because we're waiting for that one. AMC today, actually, wow. Talk about a stock that we missed here. I want to go back over to Plug Power because I don't know why that one hasn't put me in yet. Okay, because it's moved higher. That's why. Okay, 930, 935 here. A big drop on AMC today, down that 3 and a bit percent. We can look at a little more time frame here. Let's back this out to see what was, whoops, not that way, back out to see what was yesterday. Nothing yesterday down to these levels. We can go into a further time frame. Here's a 20-minute chart again. So this is that bounce spot that we've talked about. We actually went down to it today, 925. Just this 9 has held, right? So I think we got to go long. We held this 925. Let's put some bids in the 920s, which is coming for AMC, and then see if it holds 9. We're going to hold this one all the way back to 9. It could get going back to the upside. Look at the NASDAQ, though, coming in a little bit here. So we're going to watch out. I probably will get that Microsoft bid in a minute here, hopefully. Coinbase, we're back long on that name. And again, I did a keystroke error right there. We got out. Looks like a good out. We bought back here 23.50. That ripped up to about, it just happened about 24.50. So we got it in the money about $1. I'm still looking to see if we can't take this back out now around this 327. So even though we're long at 323, I'm looking for a $4 win. I'm looking for this price here, 327, 328, something up here. 328 had held before, so I'd like to see it retest. We're not going to be silly though. We break 320, we go.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with, why not? We'll do backflip because it's a bit of an oldie but a goodie. And I'm bold in some of these, so I'll throw some of them back in there. UAL, if you want to go all the way back into the end of the year top reversal, 51.35. Sort of on these levels, you got to pick an area to get out. I liked that price. I saw a little bit of consolidation, just a tiny little bit there. So I got 2 shorts in here. The first one, we took it up on the pop at 53.58. I got out of that. Then we reshorted when it broke that 53. We'll go ahead and conclude that trade. If it pops up, I actually am going to consider shorting some on strength as well. And from one to another, going to go to MVIS. I knew I was trying to defend a consolidation in this. Whoops, there you go. I was going to defend a consolidation in this if it happened at VWAP. Of course it didn't. It just shot right through that 60 price. Then looked to the previous pre-market top. Just got in there a couple of times, 1135s in the first entry in the low 1130s. Just got some out shy of VWAP for a quick little 15 to 20 cent scalp. And then on the top side, I'll take some out in the 60s. If it tests higher, I want to be all out in the 75 to 80 range and then looking for a short off the high of the day. That'd be like 12, 13. So I'd probably want like 90s to 12s if I got a decent price there. Brennan?
Another little one, guys, bouncing after quite the sell-off. Bio-nanogenomics, another space that ARK is definitely interested in. 13% here. BNGO just popping up on volume here to $6, guys.
Yeah, Bingo's one that we've traded a lot in the past. I haven't looked at that recently, though. BNGO, we'll look at that bio. But right now, I just took some out at 08 there. I just noticed, top, and then break. So maybe it was going to be support. Looks like that was support. So again, we take 10 cents on it. I mean, this loss was probably our average price was around 90, I would assume, on this play, and we got those out at 33, so that's like a 40-cent hit. So taking a 10-cent win there is nothing, but we are going to wait for more downside, hopefully coming on Virgin Galactic. We are now into our softie. We talked about building that, so now we've got this. I want to get some more shares. We'll put on like a serious trade if we can get closer to VWAP, like 259-ish, right down here, 259.20. We'll put on some more shares, but right now looking to do some damage here on softie. Average price 259.53. I think we get out a little bit if we can get back to 60 here. We'll take out a piece because 60 is a big level. The 52-week high on Microsoft is somewhere near here. I'll find that out exactly. 261.50. So still a little bit of work to go. If the NASDAQ fails, so will this. And we don't want to go too long on this name, but we're looking at a 259 break if that does happen. What's happening now, though, you're going to find out in a couple seconds with Brendan at the big screen.
Hey guys, let's have a look at North American markets here. We are still negative, unfortunately. S&P down 0.25%. The Dow leading today, so a little bit of a change from yesterday. If you remember, it was the tech stocks that were leading to the downside. You can see 0.4 here for the Dow. To the downside, NASDAQ, both the composite and 100, trying to get positive. In fact, they are off early lows from the pre-market. The Russell, 0.35% here in Toronto. The TSX, more than 0.5% to the downside. A couple of things we were talking about in the pre-market. Not much doing for Apple. Again, their event coming up at 12:30 Eastern this afternoon will be streamed live. So heads up on Apple today. Volume even not there. Let's talk about Plug Power. It did pop up in the pre-market on some news as well. New distribution deal for Plug Power, trying to hold some of these levels from aftermarket yesterday, 25.80, 25.75. Important, guys, for Plug. Back to you.
Oh, I missed you, QuantumScape. Anyways, sorry, QuantumScape broke 34 here. It did test a 34.40 and then sort of came back in there. I might be like you in missing out on Plug, but there's so many other things that are moving that you got to make sure you pair your list off a little bit. I wanted to make sure there was actually a fail break turn on QS. The spread, it's only like 5 or 6 cents now, but it does open up. So like breakout trades or trying to get it on the opposite direction as opposed to sort of standing in front of the move is going to be a little bit more tricky. I was trying to be patient with it. If it does pull back, I don't know that I'm trying to go long on dips on QuantumScape. I just saw the market start to turn around a little bit and noticed that Tesla, despite that, it can't even get back to VWAP here. So it just turned off of like 27. So every single time I think there's going to be a dip a little bit further, Tesla proves me wrong. The only thing I did get on the dip, you'll see to the long side, is going to be the power up on MVIS. It does break VWAP, so we got the right area. And sometimes I just look back to that previous pre-market high. There was also, if you look in here on the 1-minute chart, we did dip there, just past 9:30. So initial move up, breaks out, and then dips and holds 11:20. So the second it stalls out to try to catch it on the way back up, when it bounced off that sort of 28.30 level, I'm like, okay, it's now into the range of the 20s. I'll pick some shares up to the long side. Again, I want to be all flat if it gets to that 75 to 85 range, so I can start looking for a short in MVIS off the top.
Okay, so we just did cash out a little bit. We love ourselves some softies, so we'll do a couple backflips there as we get out at 80 there off an average price. Well, you can see my average price. What is it? 50. So a nice little 30-cent win there. We got out at 76, so 26-cent win there for our friend Microsoft. We like this play. I've always liked trading Microsoft, especially when the market's weak and you can sort of pick some up on the low side. However, this 258.60 level down here, I don't want to hold anything past that. So if we do get a ripper down to that side, or I guess a tank back down. We will get out of that one, but that is softy. So I'm trying to average in again near 259. So we're just doing this typical play, man, where we get in, we get out, and then we back it up again. So we'll hopefully get that on there. We did take Coinbase again. And look at this, man. It goes right back into the money, pretty huge. We were long at 322.75. That's our average price. You can see that right now. It goes up here to 325. So I think I'm going to take some out, man. If we get back to 325, we'll take out a little bit because that'll be a $3 winner. So we'll take some out at 325. Here it comes, right back upside. A nice little win here, but I can't celebrate until we get out. So I'm going to throw to Brennan. Hopefully when we come back, we're above this 325, guys.
Just saw an interesting note on NXPI Semiconductor. Apparently Samsung, there's rumors floating around that Samsung may be interested in acquiring this company. So it did spike up there through 196.5, but back down here right now for NXPI, guys.
Deals abound in that space. Will any of them actually get through with the challenge on ARM, which stinks for NVIDIA? Because I think that's a great deal for NVIDIA if they get the ARM acquisition through. But you have more to come. I talked about I talked about YVR here, and obviously. I'm not going to get the shares at 290 that I just canceled. It looks like maybe if I'm going to try to be bearish on the stock, it's going to have to be VWAP. It's going to have to be right here in those mid 80s. So you can always start a position with the idea that you'll give it a little bit of room. And of course, as I say that, I throw an offer there at 83s, and it sort of runs away from it. But I'm about to take something in the low 80s just so I can get something in front of VWAP. It did give a nice little volume pop there, so it's not that it's hesitation, but you almost prefer that it's not a ton of volume popping into VWAP. But clearly, if I had gotten that fill, it would have been a fantastic one. The short I do have on, Sundial's going to be Sundial. But I got to go back over to GameStop because it feels like the next move, and I did say if it tested that low 152 area, I would look for a long off of that range. It's consolidating. I'm not longing off this bottom. I'm actually looking to short it if it makes a pop into 165. So I don't think we'll be getting a GameStop long. It looks like it's consolidating, wanting to break up. And from here, I would much prefer short into some strength on GME. And I didn't get Coinbase there, Sean. But it just bounced again off of, it's not 320, but it's 321.50. That feels like the level to me. I didn't take it the first time. I didn't take it the second time. I'll take it the third.
Red note.
Some of the other NFT stocks just popping up here. There's TKAT. I just also noticed IMTE. There's also that Sino. There's a bunch of them coming up here on volume right now. But here's this Takung Art back to 23. Huge volume spike here for TKAT, guys.
Oh, man, I am just pennies away from taking a $2 win here on Coinbase and making back some of that luce that we lost already on the way downside for Coinbase. Oh, come on. I am right here. I'm hidden. So there it is. We're out. Yes, sir. That's a good trade. Those pins lined up. Thank God we were able to make this money back. It was a rough ride for a minute there, but we did pick that up, Neil, that exact level you just mentioned. We long off there. So here we go, guys. Here we go. A $4 winner now for Coinbase. And that's what I mean. Like, you take these hits, and then as long as you can manage your downside risk here, there is going to be opportunities, as I have an eyelash, there is going to be opportunities, just like Space, the final frontier, brings it all the way back down, and I told you that we'd be able to make this money back, and there it is, man. We averaged in, we got a beautiful price upside, although we did get out. Just wish we didn't have that out. Neil was waiting for 21.50. I should have been as well, but now we're back into the 90s, so another spot to take some out here. Celebrate this win, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I heard you say you have an eyelash. I'm like, I hope so, but I'm guessing it was stuck in your eye.
Yeah, stuck in my eye. Yeah.
Whatever. Things move
many eyelashes.
Things move fast around here, so you know we're gonna have little fun things like that from time to time. Moving rapidly to the downside. I don't know why I'm not shorting these pops. Actually, I do know why. Because the last time I shorted in front of $1 after the open on Sundial, I got burned by my price not being good enough. So when it comes to 98, I'm waiting for 98 half and 99s. That's why you see it's now broken 95, right? So I took shares out in front of this 95 bid that's sitting here. Whoops, go the other way. That's only 300,000 shares. It was a tad bigger a second ago, but that's not very significant. If it was like a million, maybe I'd get more out. 93 was the next level down. So we break that 95. I'll look to take some shares off in front of 93.5 cents. YVR finally popped in here for me, and there's a little bit of volume in this move on YVR. You got to be careful in the NFT space in general, because it's one of those. EVs were kind of like this before. It's the only parallel. It's the first parallel that came to mind here. As Fisker just came back down to 1350, so I got 62s long. But it's one of these spaces where it's prone to squeezes, it's prone to big moves. I only put one leg in here after that volume spike, and I think I'm going to be a little bit cautious in and around this like 290 to 295 because if 310 is my top break, it probably should be 2 shorts that I put on, and one of them I should be terminating around 90 and then thinking about getting back in. So YVR on that little pop, I should have got it the first time through. On this move, strong on volume, I'm going to tread very lightly.
I mean, Neil and I, we don't hear each other sometimes, but yeah, we talked about that. And look, I think that YVR, is going to be a legit company. They've been talking about doing these things for a bit, but yeah, that's what I talked about before was EV related to NFTs. We talked about this in the pre-market where I was saying that, like I'm just not overly confident in that as being staying power, but you do got to find the right places to get involved with, right? I mean, and that might be one. Dolphin, we talked about that. I talked about Playboy, and it's just, a lot of people got caught with EV stocks, right? And so I just think YVR is definitely, a long-term hold if you like that position and that space, but definitely a good day trade as well, as is evident right now. Okay, Coinbase, here we go, guys. It's back up to that 325. It did dip down a little bit there after we got out, right back down to 323, but now we're right back up. I still think we have more to go on this name. I want to be buying this as much as I can whenever I can. So Coinbase, probably after the show today, I'm not allowed to buy anything or sell anything while we're on the show, but we can get more shares once we're off air. So, and we're just doing that to keep it legit for you guys, right? We want to make sure that we're following, we're trading and showing you the trades that we're getting involved with. B.
One we mentioned early on this morning, Microvision back to the downside and then some. We said 12 got tested up there, but look at this, all the way back to 11 in a straight line. So a big range on MVIS, but not much doing overall, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the fist bump because you called one I was just about to update. There's the rollover on Virgin Galactic starting, so I don't take any shares until we get back below that little VWAP. There's only 2 clusters. We talked about shorting in front of 21 and then that 2150. So there's only 2 places where I was actually shorting this position in front of 2150. This is a little better than in Peloton because in Peloton yesterday I was equivalent short here and then short essentially here. This time I actually get a price that I was more comfortable with. I said if it went to 2150 on that break, that I wanted something along the lines of 2115 would be acceptable. I end up around that price, maybe a few pennies away from it. So pretty successful so far, but it could bounce and retest the high. If it does, I have given myself some room to add back in. No worse than the prices we've already got. And then as far as, I got into that Fisker on a dip, but I haven't added to it yet. But MVIS, this was a muted success on that bounce. We got the push. It gave you the 53s. It gave me some shares out at 62, so you take a couple of decent winners, and then it cracks that 20 to the downside. I got slipped to 11.15 there, so pay a little bit of extra spread, which I actually didn't think we'd get more than a couple of cents of spread. I ended up getting like 5 cents, so it was quite the big flush. And to me, that tells me that my level was a bit wrong. I should have had a tighter stop, maybe at 11.25, and then I wouldn't be dealing with that kind of slippage. I wanted to buy a dip in Fisker and end up waiting all the way back into the bottom of the opening range. That's that 1350 area. 1330, of course, was the breakout spot, and that was that pre-market low as well. So, I mean, if you can't guess where the out is going to be on Fisker, it's 1330. It was the only level I had written down.
Yep, Fisker, good trade for sure. We've already crushed that stock, so we'll continue to watch it as well. Good thing Neil's on that one. Okay, so Palantir, again, we're coming back down to that 22 level. I've just gotten some small trades. I'm actually, this is just to get a piece of the long in case we see this move up. You're going to see me long Palantir, but I'm going to talk about it now because I see that it is talked about a little bit on the chat here. We did see that up almost 2% at the high, 22.50 or so. But right now, man, like Palantir is coming back in. I don't really, looking at my bids now, like I'm talking about it down here, like this 21.50 area, guys. Like these are the levels that I want to wait to see what happens. We know Palantir is weak, so you're going to see me true into some positions now. But I mean, really, I'm expecting it to go down. That's crazy to say that, but I do want to get some more bids in the 90s and then even in the 70s. We'll see what happens around here at 75. And then I even want to leave it to 21.50. So we're going to give this one a little bit of room now. And I think that's what needs to be done on Palantir. I'm averaged in now. My average price you could see is 14. These are very, very small. This is like 20% of the usual position, maybe less on Palantir. So just to give you an update on what we're looking at, I'm expecting a a little bit more of a drop, and then bigger positions be put on here, 2185, 2190, to see what happens around 75. Probably get a little bit out if we do take out this 75, but then I do want to see 2150 as well. So manage your risk as you see fit, but that's sort of my plan of action right now on Palantir. Get some more in the 90s, get some more in the 80s, drop it if we break 70, and then watch what happens around 22 and change. So, or sorry, 2150. That's just my play on Palantir. It's worked in the past. Let's see if it can go again. Softy, a nice little buy down there at 59. Like, man, we should ring the register on this one as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, we'll do this one because I haven't hit it in a while. But I said 93s. We actually went further than that on Sundial just a second ago. I went to 93. I tried to go long, guys. I did. I mean, I longed 01s. I even took some shares long at 102, but when it gets back below $1, I mean, every single time it goes to that price, I'm just going to be shorting it below. Because there's always like a wall at a buck even, and it's just so easy to make sure you maintain your out, except for the one time that I got a bunch of shares out on a 101 instead of $1, and that spread can matter sometimes. If it gets any further than here, there was a lot of chop on the way up, but if you look at when the turn happened, it kind of was right at that 91 point. So 95, 93, 91. That's kind of the pattern I'm playing here. I'd be surprised if we came all the way back into 88, but if we do, I won't have very many shares on. If we're below $1, I'm still short. The mistake I made the last time it made this move, and I can, if I can actually show you, I don't know if I can show you on the 15-minute chart. Maybe it doesn't go back far enough. But either way, the last time it made this move, it was kind of this little push. It doesn't seem like a heck of a lot, but I had this short in the pre-market through $1 all the way to 90 cents. And then I worked the short all the way back through a break. And that's the day I'm talking about. I had too many shares at 97.5. If it makes the same V-shaped recovery, in Sundial, I will not be shorting into $1 unless I'm getting a price of like 98, 99, and probably actually 99 specifically. It is 10:20 already, so it's time for the small cap recap. Let's go to Brendan at the big screen. Caught me off guard.
Yet another fairly slow day on the small cap front today. There were a couple to have a look at. This one, YVR, showed a tan right out of the gates. I was expecting a test of the high, but no such luck here. Support breaks, you short it all the way down to 260. It's starting to consolidate at this point. Still decent volume, though, on YVR. As we mentioned, though, some of the other ones popping up to the upside. This one, not so much on the NFT front, even with news on that YVR today. XXII, another one that I would have loved to test a 4, but that never happened. Straight southbound here to 340. We're coming back into 375, which is that support from the pre-market. So heads up at 375 on that one. NNDM, same thing. Trying to be patient on this one. See if we get to 8. If you go to the daily chart, 8 is a huge level that it wasn't able to get to on that first push to 775. Needs to find some support here for NNDM, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Brendan. You actually just reminded me about 22nd Century there, and we said it on the fastest 45 minutes. And by the way, just a reminder, I should say it here. You would have known all about this entire news, when it comes to the nicotine possible regulation. There's a lot to walk through for that. I mean, before you actually see any sort of hard rules that would come in, because that's how the system works. But this is where you would have found out about this 22nd Century. That's where you found out about Altria as well. So make sure you tune in today. There's always movement. There's always excitement in that last 45 minutes, power hour, as we like to call it. And then, 22nd Century, I did want that 4. Of course, it is what it is. It's now moved past it. I like to catch things in a rollover, and you just reminded me there, Brendan, that it did test that 75. So I'm looking to short it in this range. First off that 75, and if it makes another push, it'd be a second short off that $4 before looking at a breakout.
Okay, good talk to you, and good talk to join us, obviously, every afternoon as well. Like, that was a great out, man. Like, we're almost out of everything on space right now. It comes right back down. We get out 80, 81s. We take some outs again at 90s as this thing pops back through. So we made back a decent amount of money there on space. Still negative on it, but that was a good little move to the backside for us on space. There was Microsoft, my average price, making money on Softy today. We'll always have to go back to this name because it is one of my favorites, averaged in and out, took that 59 bid there. Little nervous that the NASDAQ doesn't stay above water. We go red, right? We go to 0.12 there. trying to rally. I like Microsoft through. We still have these downward moves, though, possibly coming in. We'll see where it comes through, but 258.50 going to be a dropping spot if that one gets any worse for us. Who knows? Microsoft, a nice move. Coinbase as well. Really happy with this move, man. We're testing. Look where we're long, guys. We're long at 322 right now on Coinbase. So a good move back up. I want to see what happens around this 328 level. We could take a $4 or $5 winner right now on Coinbase. So here we go. Again, pins lined up a little bit to the downside. We tested that 28 level early. Here we go, Coinbase. Here we go. A $7 winner now, Neil, on Coinbase, and still ripping to the high side. So yes, sir, we get upset because we missed this trade, but we put it back on, and there we go, right back to where we thought it would go eventually. Anyways, that 328, we like that 328 long. I talked about putting some more into our account back down there at 324. Unable to do it. We'll do it after the show. Go Coinbase, go. We got a nice $7 winner, the largest one here today. Hot dogs.
It's been a while since we used the hot dog cannon for sure. You got to bring some of the oldies but goodies back because we have pages upon pages that these guys give to us here. Of course, I hate that one though.
That's the hot dog cannon.
I like the old school. I just talked about the old school one and you brought the new one out. I like
we did the old school one today.
That's what I'm saying. I like the old school one a little
Which
bit better.
one do you guys like?
Rob.
Here's the $7 still going up, guys. I like this hot dog cake because I'm dancing, right? It's like a fun one, guys. Let us know which one you like. Go ahead, take it over.
Because one of them is the actual cannon from like the actual games. Anyways,
I know. Yeah, that's what we try.
I'll get back to trading for a split second here if I can. Look, I said 95s, 93s, 91s. So, man of my word here, there's 91s on Sundial. It's now come, you're not looking at a 10% retracement plus on that move. So, 420, I guess the celebrations aren't in. We did say if it got below $1. And look, I want to be festive about this. I just can't. It's just, you got to follow the price action. And that's one of those things. You can want something all you want. You can't will it into existence. You're going to get that. Remember that 2150 area? Okay, so one test on Virgin Galactic. If we get a move back into where I was shorting the second entry point, and that's in around this like the 20s to the 30s in front of that 50. If we get back in there, I'll reload it. I haven't taken any profit till it's below that first entry point, which is those pre-market highs, and then you work that into the low of the day. And if it breaks 20 even, that's a separate trade. I want to be shorting 20 if it ever gives me that kind of a break. Fisker consolidating, but I haven't added to that long position off of 313.60. And same thing with YVR. Like I haven't been able to add to that short. Brendan?
It was J&J, yes, I had to check. But Johnson & Johnson on the watch list this morning, guys, having quite the morning here. Just wanted to point out one more headline for you before we show you the chart. European regulators saying that the benefits still outweighing the risks as far as their vaccine is concerned. So just took out day highs here for J&J off to the races through 165.
Yeah, we talked about J&J earlier, and I wrote down here on the note, I wrote down blah. You can see blah, there was nothing there with a little smiley face, but now you see J&J going to the upside on that news. So good right there. Okay, Coinbase, there's the out, man. So we will spin this one. I think this is pretty much everyone's favorite from what I've been seeing. But we do get out there at 329. Again, it was just this top right here, 329. I'd hate for this move to be inverted. You know, we just took this exact move the other way. So we're going to celebrate that. I mean, if it takes out 331, sure, I missed along, but I mean, I'm a Coinbase bull. You guys know that one. We'll be getting some more bids down here if it does come in, so we'll address that at a later time. But for right now, Coinbase, a nice win, man. I'm at my highest spot I've been at all day right now, so things obviously moving well for me, the right direction anyways. Here's Microsoft. 60's been a little bit of a spot there. I think we'll probably get a little bit more out here at 60 if we can, but we do have some upside surprises coming, I'm hoping. We're waiting in the 80s as well, but right now, we just need the NASDAQ to go above green here. If it can get its head above water, then we'll be good to go. I'm going to put another offer right around here, man, 64, 65 for Mr. Softy. We're long right now at 14s. So this is a win for us no matter what, but we are going to try to get some out here, 65, if that can come through.
Yeah, and I just want to check back on something which I took off a little bit too early and is now at $50. UAL trying to find a bottom. It is not, I can tell you that much. And I was just like sort of hunting for a level further down. Now, obviously, this will stick out on the daily chart. You're going to look at this little dip down. And if you remember March 5th, basically everything's going to have a crazy wick to the downside on that day, just about everything. And the recovery to like about 49, we call it like 49 3/4, that feels like a bit of a jump point. So if you're looking at $50 for any kind of a dip buy and stick your hand in that lion's den or cage, you might want to let it break 50 and then maybe test that 49.75 before you think about taking off that long trade, because a lot of times levels like that, they get tested and broken, the even dollar, and then the actual support below it ends up being where the turn is. So I'm going to have a quick look at that if it ever gets there. We're about 50 cents away from 50 bucks. But on the radar, for just like one of those rubber band bounce long plays, if you can get like good risk to reward, meaning, you get like 50 tens and you're risking 30 to 40 cents. I mean, it doesn't really take much of a bounce here when the stock is down 10% on the session. Brennan?
Another little one that's given it all back and then some today. Well, not yet, but 7.5%. It was up way more than that. Got to 195 here in the pre-market. Back to 155 for Hoth Therapeutics. There was positive data on an anti-cancer treatment, guys, from them today.
Hoth.
Must be a cold treatment.
Look, guys. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, you got to hit us up on Twitter. Where is it? There it is. Look at the very bottom. Trying to get this zoomed out. There it is. 53 UAL with multiple stars, right? I mean, that's where you make the cash. We could lose on space. I could lose on whatever. But the point is, if you take the right trades and you analyze the risk to certain levels, then you can make that money no matter what happens. Thank God we cashed out of some of that space. Like, whatever, I hate that stock right now. I mean, it's great to trade. It's just not good for me today. And the damage done on space, it's nothing, but still, don't like to lose. And then this is Plug Power. I also wrote down a kill spot down here, man. Like, this was bad. They got a couple downgrades, but then they got a couple initiations as well. It was kind of a funny day for Plug Power, but we've seen the EV space get unplugged. So I was thinking, hey, if this were to break 25 and the actual low from yesterday or from a couple days ago was that 24.85. So that's why we had that as a spank level, but I didn't have anything upside. So that's why Plug gets ignored just a little bit. Microsoft, damn it, did not give us those 60s. So I may have to put an order like at 50 to see if we get out. I'm going to change my 60, put it to 50, but then leave these 80s upside here because I do believe that the NASDAQ can motor a little bit more. So we'll put some 29.50s out there. We'll capture this 40-cent win, and then we'll move on. B again, what up?
Not really. I was just going to mention, guys, Takung. I just had another volume alert here on this TKAT. 21.50 there. Big seller stepped up. Right back down to, looks like 21, even 18% for Takung. YVR as well, still kind of hanging around that initial support from the pre-market, guys. Just to clarify, we did mention in the pre-market that YVR was an uplisting. It has, in fact, always been a NASDAQ stock. So just to clarify, to our friends, Josh Jackson and company over at Liquid Media, obviously always a NASDAQ company, guys.
A good look there. Always make sure you get that clarification in there. That's why Brendan's so professional, obviously. First trade in Altria for me this morning, and certainly didn't even trade it yesterday. I was looking more at the 22nd century, which just broke 75, so I took that 70 short out of 75. If it tests $4, we love that level as well. But, break of VWAP here. Now, if you look at the spike off the open, we got all the way to 47, then you had this sort of more muted move that could not break this little, sort of consolidation before the 9:10 and 9 o'clock flush through 46.20. That's what I want to be short in front of here. So if it breaks at 25, I'm out. It's not so much VWAP as it is, kind of putting in these lower highs and again, just playing the trend until I'm sort of proven wrong. And maybe this is above 47. I'll think that the bottom is in. But if I can scalp this one from like a 46 area entry, the high 90s there, get it down to like the 50s for some scalp trades, maybe hold some for 45.50, and maybe a little bit past that for 45 even. It's risking about 30 cents, and I like the risk to reward. I'm staying short on this name until proven otherwise. I did, like I said, trade that YVR. I wasn't unable to get any more shares here on this little pop. Again, I tried to get it on the way back to the upside. On the way down when it tried to come in, I said, let's be careful with this one. Let it pop up. It didn't actually go to 3. I didn't see it go to 3. That's a bad print. And on the way back in, I couldn't get any in the 80s. I have to take some shares out in front of that 70 for like a 10-cent win there just to scalp the trade. If it comes back up and tests 85s, I'll sort of rinse and repeat that price action over and over and over again as many times as it wants me to. I'm waiting for Fisker to sort of base out. Took the one entry point. It tested, it didn't quite test 1330. It tested 1340 here. If it makes another test and cannot break down closer to 30, I'll pick some shares up in front of 40, but 1330 is a level of concern for me.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so we're just looking here. Yeah, I can review my Fisker trade. You've known about that. We got out on that momentum. I still think it pops, though, so that should be a good long there. Just reviewing Softy, it does go right up to that 65 level. We didn't I mean, we got out at 50 where we said winning trade. We'll take winning trades when they're there, but we missed that bump right there. So we have another order to go there. We are still long, nicely long, man. We're long at 59.04. You can see where this has been. It hasn't been a huge trade because we had to get out of some of these, but this part, you know, and I told you guys, this is how we trade, right? Like, just like on Palantir, I'm still waiting for those low 90s, and we just got missed on some of those low 90s with Palantir. So, you know, we're averaged in there. We're going to wait for Palantir to come back down, but a very, very similar play to Microsoft. Man, like, Randy, I don't know if you know anything about HVAC, but it is boiling.
It's ridiculous, man.
You know, up in here. So if you can get on that roof and see what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like
that AC unit, bud.
We need to channel our inner Hoth around here, and that's the second time I'm going to make a nerdy reference about this particular stock and get a little cooler. Things have cooled down on this particular name, so the retracement's going to be in. Probably a missed opportunity. I think shorting this one on a bit of a pop there, but it is what it is. You're going to try to get to the names that are good, that you found a little bit earlier on. You have to limit them. I'm already in half a dozen positions or so, and then I look to what actually happened. You want to make sure you can review this. I'm going to look at that 190 and $2 every single time this thing pops, and now I'm thinking it goes into that sort of choppish range and then rejects. The lower chop was here 165 to 175. So if there's another move up in Hoth, that's the price area you're thinking about here. If you can get back into that range, it also happens to be VWAP. So you missed the first move. You kind of look to see what will be the second one. I think Hoth will be like around that 170. Brennan?
All right, it is 10:30. Some sellers coming back in for the overall market, still in negative territory. Let's get a check on what is happening across the pond over in Europe. An hour to go over there. V, what's up?
Hey, Brendan, European markets negative, reacting to tobacco companies' news. French food group Danone is down more than 2% after posting a 3.3% fall in first quarter sales. Back to you.
Yeah, we mentioned British tobacco guys faring a little bit better than the rest, but some of the other ones now, Mo and PM, also coming off again, guys.
Okay, yeah, definitely worth a look. We wrote down some levels on Philip Morris, but again, man, like just missed the majority of those trades there. Today, I don't have any on board. We hit that up nicely yesterday. I'm still worried about some of the positions that I have on right now. We are looking to get longer right now. We should be getting some bids very, very soon here on Palantir into the low 90s. Like I thought I had bids in here. Again, we've just been trading so much that I can't even see what I'm doing here. Yeah, so my bids is 92. We should take some right now, though. We'll take some bids here at 96 if we can get that fill coming back through us. We're bidding here. We're sitting right there. We'll take that. There it is. We'll take that fill now and see. So that's a 96 fill. And we're going to wait to down here. I have 75s on my mind. So that's going to be like my out if we get down there. We are bidding also low. This was part of the plan, man. Like, we thought this would happen. We were going to see if it would bounce off 22. I mean, we never thought this would happen. I would have got long. But these are just some protecting spots. You can see my average price now back down to 08. So very, very excited for this. Let's just see what happens here for Palantir.
Yeah, and next level down is going to be 90 on Sundial, obviously. I actually parked a bid here when it bounced off 90. Haven't been filled yet, but you can see just stair-stepping to the downside. And this is what I'm going to be trying to avoid here is averaging into any kind of a pop. It's already given the move I was sort of expecting and a little bit past that, so you can't get greedy. I'm not looking this gift horse in the mouth. There's no way. I'm taking profit all the way through, and I'm not averaging in. If it pops to the upside, I'll let it get back into that 98 range before I get back in. I think that's going to be key. I was able to add one time here quickly before we go to Brendan. I was able to add one time and then miss this little rollover on Virgin Galactic. So if it gets back below that view up, I'll take one legs, we rinse and repeat, and then all my other bids still remain in front of 20 even. I still like a 20 break. So it's not as good as Peloton was, but it has yet to really burn past that 2150 area, and then both short entries look pretty solid. I still have yet to get any nice little wins on the 90s, but if you look at that top trade, it's giving you that range back into that 2070 where it did have that support. Once we break that, call like 2065 support, that's when you start taking out the original shares all the way down to the bottom of 20 even. Brennan?
Online services company and internet provider, it looks like J2 Global Incorporated up today, guys. They announced after market yesterday that they're going to split their cloud business into two publicly traded companies. So J-Com, recent highs here, 5% today on that one.
All right, nice to see some JCOM news there. I don't know anything about that, but if you want to trade that name, probably a decent opportunity right now, moving around. JCOM, good name there, Brendo. Okay, 259, we almost got that offer again. We're sitting here at 65 on Softy, so we almost got that 64 there. Whatever, we're just pennies away. I still think Microsoft has that chance to go, guys, so let's wait around on Softy. I think that's the best opportunity right now. We'll have some lower bids as well as the NASDAQ. Like I said, if we could just get back to green, then we're laughing on Microsoft. So let's just wait on that one. Palantir, okay, here we go. Now we're starting to get serious, man. I got too many bids there, I guess, now. So now we're loaded up. We'll wait to see what happens at 21.75, but Microsoft is Palantir is my new play that I'm worried about. So let's wait to see what happens with Palantir. Downside, we've already talked about that exposure, 21.70 break, and I want to be out of this name. So we're going to give this one all the way back to 21.70. Look at my average price now, 01. So yeah, we're ready to go.
And look, I mean, say it and then it sort of happens here, guys. The smile's on my face, stock scanner. I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to show you Virgin Galactic. It does tick that 2092. That's not what we're talking about here right now. As this one tries to roll over, I can't even call it a rollover. I'll call it going up in smoke, and that's going to be Sundial. Now down to 89. I mean, 88 was that sort of going back into yesterday's action. 88 was that bottom. So I don't know. I probably won't have much of anything if it breaks the 88 level. And from there, if this thing sniffs 80 cents today, I'll go long in front of 80 cents for sure. I'll be long gone out of a short side trade and be thinking about a reversal if this thing gets anywhere near 80 cents. That would feel a little bit crazy to me. But it's a 2-day pump that is now dumped halfway back.
Yeah. I guess that whole, we're going to defend this 420 thing. That didn't last too long.
Nope.
As that's just all the way back to the downside there. Eventually, even smokers run out of cash, apparently. So they're not going to be buying any Sundial right now. So we'll have to watch that one, but a good play regardless on that name. Palantir coming back up, guys. I think I'm a little bit loaded up here. So again, we're out. We're going to start to get a little bit out now to get our price a little bit better. These are hits. We were long at 21.01. So it's back in the money now. Not in the money, but only out of the money, 4 cents. We did take some out, waiting for this NASDAQ to go. There it is. I don't know. I mean, I think we got the hot dog cannon that everybody wants here. There it is there. Yeah, we're celebrating another one, guys. Another one. 65-cent win right now on Softy. And I told you we have higher expectations for Microsoft. So here it comes, man. We're going to get into the 80s again. Whenever I'm on Mr. Softy, it always turns out to be a nice, tasty treat. So there we go. Microsoft to the upside.
I love soft ice cream. That makes me hungry right there. Even though I've had probably far too many Timbits. Ice cream works well there, Sean. UAL does come to that 50. Now remember what the plan of action, if you didn't follow along, remember what the plan of action was down here. I said if it breaks 50, I want to take it back to this level. It's approximately 49.75. So you let it break to 50 even. You're long in front of 50 even, but even if it breaks, the out isn't until the quarter. So forget about that even dollar stop. You throw it a little bit lower here. This was a recovery price after that March 5. I guess flush out that we had in a lot of names in the market. So that's where my out's going to be. Again, if it can come even a small amount back, I mean, you'll be pretty happy with the risk reward of risking 40 pennies or so to see if you can't get back up to 51s where you can make about $1, and that's not even VWAP. So the risk reward, definitely a solid one in UAL. And the gates of hell continue for Virgin Galactic. No, UAL is gates of hell as well, but there's that continuous rollover. So now my bids are all below that last out we had at 77s. We got back into some more shares in the teens. Sort of missed a chance to add at the same price there, but that 21.50 holding for now. High or low, still waiting for the absolute flush and still holding over half the position. Brendan is at the big screen now. This is a pretty clear board. Let's get that sector watch.
Hey guys, let's have a look at the S&P 500, see what is leading the way so far today. Pretty red board. We are only down 0.4% as an overall market. However, there are a few things standing out here to the upside. You can see that's Kansas City Southern, KSU, up on that increased offer. Takeout offer, 15.6%. DOV, earnings name, 3% to the upside. Look at Tesla, back to the upside, 2.8%, having a nice day. As we mentioned early on today, when GM and Ford, not so much, 4 to 4.5% in negative territory for both of those. Energy stocks, the leaders in negative territory, the entire group here really under pressure once again today. Devon down 5.5%. Oxy, Marathon, there's EOG, 4+% across the board for the entire group. Wanted to mention these guys here. Here's the cruise lines. NCLH, CCL, and RCL, 3 to 5% negative territory. So travel stocks back under pressure. MGM is here. There's Hilton, Marriott, LVS, all the same, 3% to the downside. So the travel group faring not so good today. Here's the airlines as well down here in the industrial group, also under pressure. As far as positivity, I mean, this little real estate sector is positive on the day. Some utility stocks are positive on the day. Some of the tech sector led by IBM, 3.8% in positive territory. ENPH as well in the semi group, the only one standing out in the semi group. But you can tell by the lack of movement here, this is usually one of the larger groups on this board. Today, not so much, just ENPH. AMD down 1.5%. It's now 0.5%. I should stop talking because it's continuing to fall. Sean, back over to you.
Yeah, it's okay. We're not short anything there, so we'll AMD though. That is a long position of mine, so not really enjoying any of these downside moves here in some of these growth names, that's for sure. Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about that. Space, we just got out a little bit there. A nice, beautiful win there. Okay, we're loaded. You can see our average price now 91 on Palantir, so it's going to be a hit. We're going to get out if it drops below 70. That's a 21-cent hit. Okay, that's not a big hit. So I think we got the right prices. We've tried to average into this. Obviously, without that crystal ball that I left at home today, I can't predict this move down in the NASDAQ, but we can hope that we can hold this. This is this move right here, all the way back down to this low. I said that the NASDAQ was, going to try to get back to positive. If it missed, we were in a problem there, and now we'll just wait to see if it holds. Palantir 20. I mean, it's going to get broken, man. 2170 break. We're going to get out. I can't hold this thing forever. But that is a play that I'm looking at right now. Palantir, it's like the only one that I'm really nervous about, obviously. Softy has turned, but we got out there. Like, that was a great out. We are going to pick some more up now, but I'm already long Palantir, so on this dip, it looks like we'll get out of this right now. I don't want to get more NASDAQ. There it goes. I don't want, well, not out yet, but I don't want to get more NASDAQ positions here, which would be a Microsoft, as we see the market just coming in. So this is going to be a hit. Big shout out to Randy, HVAC fixed, as I feel the beautiful, cool air coming in.
It's the greatest feeling in the world, but I mean, you'd think with the market crashing like this, I sort of wanted to sit back down and think that we'd be below 2060 on Virgin Galactic. I just took more shares out of 71, but you try to kick the crap when the market is going to the downside, and now just have just shy of half the position still left, looking for those lows at 20 and then maybe a breakdown as well. A little bit surprised to see this in the market sell-off, and this is going to be Altria just consolidating. And look, if we're going to be selling like this, and this is going to be holding VWAP, sure, it's not actually against me, and it's not looking like a bad position, short 45.93. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, if I had to stop higher at 46.50 and giving it a little bit more to this area here, I'd be tightening it up right now to that 46.25, because showing a little bit of strength, despite the fact that the market is cratering. Now it's starting to run for me, but I'm always thinking about like what can go wrong. I know what I'm doing if it goes to the downside. I want to get a bunch out in front of 50s. I want to get a bunch out in front of 45, and then try to hold the last third for 45 bottom end break. So you know what to do if it goes for you. If it goes against you, that's when you have to start thinking about how you're going to alter your plan if the market starts moving. That YVR, which is a bit of a pain in the butt, I can come to you YVR. Come on, flip. There we go. A YVR, once again, I try to wait. The last time I popped a VWAP, it broke. I'm like, I'll be patient. I'll wait for like 85s. It goes right to VWAP and turns this time, because obviously that's what it's got to do, right? When I want to adjust my plan of entry on shorting a pop, it decides that it's not going to go to my price, and of course I missed that trade, or re-entry into that trade. I'm still holding the shares that we got originally on that 282 push. Now it's at the low of the day. I'll hold through a break of the low. Brendan.
Just seeing Boeing, guys, accelerating to the downside here. They said they do not have plans to reinstate their dividend in the near term. They also anticipate positive cash flow to come back in the near future, was the language. But accelerating, as I said, it was 420. Sellers coming in anyways. Bottom or day lows for Boeing, guys.
Oh, Brendan. Yeah, the 420 stuff is not going to stop anytime soon. We did average in, guys, to Microsoft. We talked about that play. And so we just took some more shares there. Average price now right here, 98.5. So we're right here on Softy. Let's see if the NASDAQ wants to go one more time to the upside. I don't know, though. We'll wait to see if that one happens. We did take some more Palantir down here. We talked about that. We talked about why. We like that Palantir ahead of that 2150. We do get hit through 70, but we're reloaded back up. This one's not going to be profitable. Of course, now it goes, but we knew we were going to be in a little bit of trouble there if the NASDAQ kept going, but we want to have a little bit on in case it goes back to the upside. All we're doing right now is licking wounds, guys. We're just trying to let this go back up. We'll see if we can get out here in like the mid 80s, make a little bit back, but that's that dropping spot. I did give you 2150 on Palantir, but for me, it's just, we made the spot. We took a lot of shares there at that 75 spot. So yeah, that was one, or I guess it was 79. We were waiting for that 70. Unfortunately, that doesn't hold. Next stop, 2150, and then we're gone. If it can't bounce off some of these support levels, we gone. You don't need to be married to these stocks. It's a lot less expensive to divorce the stock than it is your wife. So we are going to get rid of this one at 2150, and then we'll go backwards from there. But I'm going to be done Palantir if we break that 2150. We tried and we failed, but we didn't fail on a lot of other things, guys. UAL, I mean, I failed getting out here, should still be holding this, but this is why we talk about the sticky note, and this is why it's the most loved tweet that we have every day. UAL, at the very bottom where my finger is, 53 to the downside. I hope you guys hit that with us.
Yeah, I mean, UAL gave you a couple of dips at that entry trade. Now, I said I would try the long off that level. Remember that March recovery price? I'll just tell you that it was that 49.75 area. I tried the long in front of 50s, in front of that 75 out. You risk 30 cents to try and make a buck. But your counter trend, it's going to be a relatively tight stop. So as much as I was standing in front of a train to short this thing, I have to have it out to the long side as weak as it's been. I don't know that I'll try it 2 times here. It might not be necessary. This is the time of the session. You're getting to like 11 o'clock where you want to sort of dig in. If you have enough positions, you're thinking about managing those positions and being careful about anything new that you put on, especially long in the stock where I had the read to the short side, and that's what ended up working. I don't know if that's the place to jump into. Just back to Altria. It's very slowly coming off VWAP here, but so finding a bit of a bounce in front of that 45.50. I'd like to still get some shares out in front of it. If it's going to be a 30 or 40 cent scalp instead of 50 cents, I feel like the way that it's moving, that's going to make some sense, particularly at this time of day, guys, where things are slowing down a little bit. And speaking of slowing down, it looks like maybe, potentially, Sundial has slowed right down into that 88 cents, yesterday's bottom. So I have a little bit left of this thing. I'll probably take it out if it gets back above 90 and then do nothing until it gets to like 98, 99 for another short. Brendan?
There we go. Yeah, money talks. Let's have a look at currency land. We'll check out what's going on. Through the British pound up on the chart today, we had a little bit of news yesterday. The Bank of England creating a task force in regards to a digital currency. So the UK having a look at possibly creating a digital currency. Popped up here to 140 yesterday, bit of a pullback, but still looking very strong. We are slightly lower, 0.2%, 140-ish, 139.5 for the British pound. Everything else pretty solid today. The euro higher, the Canadian dollar slightly lower. We had the Japanese yen in negative territory. It has since gone higher on the day, 0.03%. You can see Australia and New Zealand going the opposite directions today. They typically trade one and the same. Turkish lira having a nice day, back above 8.1 in fact for the Turkish lira. Crypto's pretty muted after the crazy action we saw over the weekend. And again, yesterday, big moves to the downside. It's Ripple taking the worst of it today, 4.7%, where Ethereum and Bitcoin just 1 and change percent today, guys. A little bit of a breather, I guess, after yesterday for crypto land. Back to you.
Yeah, that's certainly one way to put it there. A little bit of a breather on the long for that MVIS. I mean, talk about a pullback. It's now all the way back to essentially almost yesterday. Well, actually yesterday's close, let's be honest. It did hit 1050. It's rebounded a little bit since. So We defended it once at pre-market highs. I want to look to see if this bottom is going to be anything worth defending. It's an overall weak market, of course, so you have to weigh that in and factor that into your calculation as to how far you want to dig in on this. I had a relatively tight stop, but I don't think it was tight enough. The last time it was I had that long, I got slipped a few extra cents. So if I do take a long in here, I'm actually not even thinking about that 11.25. I would literally say if we dip below the current, sort of a day's low of 10.47, I would just get out of the trade. So if it gets back into the 50s, I'll try again in the long side of MVIS. Probably should have been shorting this pop, but it is what it is. I was looking to defend a level on that particular name. And again, Altria bouncing and showing some strength. I'm not at the point of moving my stop to break even, but I'm getting pretty darn close because this market keeps falling and the stock with that negative catalyst doesn't seem to want to go anywhere.
All right. No, it doesn't. Microsoft, we were able to take some out there on the high side, which is great as we break through VWAP. We talked about, you could see the price, 96. We'll take that out every day at 25. Not only was it just above that volume-weighted average price, but it was also near the quarters, which is a level that your boy likes. So right there, we take that out. We're now waiting again for that level. The NASDAQ keeps falling. There was good news on Palantir, man. We got back up to 75 off of our long 75, so we didn't get out. So we were waiting for that to go back to the high side a little bit. I'm still waiting for that 2150. It's really going to be my only negative stock today. We are going to be negative on space, but this one's worked out well for us. It's just a matter of trying to hold the rest of it to the downside. But we make back. Like this is my only negative stock. Up, 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 up. We get out there. We burn that bridge, but then you could see these 6 shorts here are all after we got out. So unfortunately, we did stay disciplined. We do get out there. My level was just there, 2130. I don't know. I can look back and find out why that was there. 2150, obviously a much better level. And now you come back in and we're baselining a little bit. We're going to take out one more piece of this. The only thing that really could have set this day on fire, which it's already on fire. We're already pretty huge now. But was this move to the downside. I cashed it out at 51. And the reason why, if you go back here on UAL, I just saw these levels right here, 50.87, 51.25, and thought there was a chance that we bounce. I didn't expect us to be down over 9% here on UAL today. So again, that's the mistake. And then the only other trade that we're looking at that is negative, and it looks like it's going to get a hell of a lot more negative, is Palantir. We take our last straw right now, and now we're going to wait. Actually, I have one more down here at 57, and then we'll wait. And then if it breaks back down below that 50, guys, we got to get out of here. So that's a bad trade for Palantir, but we're waiting for it still. We'll see what happens, guys. Bad trade Palantir, but it's trying to come through.
Just a note here. I don't know if we've looked at Altria. I'm still sitting in that short trade. It can't seem to go more than 25, 30 cents in the money for me here. But Philip Morris is positive on the day. It's come literally all the way back. That's clearly impressive. The news came out, and this was at 93.23 or so, 93.25, let's call it, before we got the flush. You have another push to the downside this morning, and the recovery all the way up. This thing want to hold above that price? It seems almost crazy to me that there couldn't be a bit of a failed break. Maybe some stops got burned, thinking there's no chance it's going to take out these highs. There's no chance it's going to get past that top from the afternoon, that 93.44. It wicks above it and comes to the downside. That would scream a short entry almost every single time. I'm already short in Altria, and it's like if there's going to be a rebound, the only thing I can think about here is tighten up my stop in Altria if I want to enter a short in Philip Morris here, because it's hard not to look at this and think risk to reward based on what we saw in the afternoon when the news dropped, that this wouldn't be a good entry price. And you know where your out is. It's yesterday's high, it's today's high, it's 93.50. It's almost too good to be true, but it does mean I'm going to tighten up my stop in Altria if I'm going to do both at the same time. Just no way around it.
Yeah, there's just so many danger spots with all these stocks, guys. That's why you got to have your listed outs, and you got to be sort of smart about it. Okay, so now Palantir, we're trying it, guys. I said one more time on Palantir, so let's just wait to see if we get burned on this or not. We're long at 65. We did take our 57 bid there, but look at the NASDAQ, man. It just continues to get to the downside. So I don't know. Whoopsies. What stock was that? Did I just do that on? Ooh, I almost made a keystroke error there. Cancel that. So we're long at 65. If it goes great, I do have have higher sides here. We are going to get out if it does break back down below 50. So unfortunately, I'm just compounding the mess here a little bit, but I'm going to give that one to 2150. Just one last breaking spot. Oh, here we go. AMC now. Okay, good thing we noticed this. AMC right down near this 9 area again. I don't want to be going too long because we're already long Palantir, but I think AMC could be a different beast. Let's see if this gives us like these 910s, 905s, and then we'll wait to see what happens at 9. But just to give you guys a quick update, AMC making moves to the downside like we thought it would, but these are the levels that we want to try to buy ahead of some of this. I mean, we're right at the 50 period, which is 927, and then the lowest we've gone is 825, but you do have some 880s coming through as well. So this is a good level, I think, to test along anyways on AMC.
Brennan?
Hi. Just heard or just saw somebody in the chat was saying the chart of Lemonade looks like a ski slope. That is a very accurate description today. Yeah, straight to the downside, 5.5% for Lemonade. Just broke $80 actually on a huge volume spike. They did have a minor headline today, but I think this was to be expected. Lemonade expanding into auto insurance. So they were primarily focused on life and home and things like that. So now you can get your auto insurance from Lemonade, guys, but they don't like that, apparently.
That's just to sell the news. I mean, the story on that one's been like, wait for 70. So I think this week could be the week. I mean, I don't know. I say that in the day the market's absolutely crashing. Are you going to get a move down even further than this? Let's go to the daily chart doesn't want to load even further. I've been waiting for this shelf to break. And that's when I'm looking to get into this name. And you talk about some of these, and Sean's mentioned this before, and we've talked about some of these recent IPOs coming back into prices that we like a little bit better. And I apologize for some reason not getting any data on Lemonade before January, but it does show the double bottom that we need to break through. I've been waiting for it to get into the 70s. I think we can. I'm going to dig back into this one off of 70 even. I turned an investment into a swing trade because sometimes you do that. And I kind of felt like it's going to turn out to have been a good decision, but trust me, I wasn't so long at 170. I wish I was. But if it gets back into the 70 range, I think it's a good buy. Affirm is starting to get down to the levels as well, where I'm thinking about picking some up. Got to get back to some of the trades that were actually in here. I did get that Philip Morris, and again, giving it to the high of the day. I've moved my stop on Altria. To break even, essentially 46. I don't want to hold both of them breaking through the top and then give Altria extra room, especially when the market flushing. I feel like if they're going counter to what the market is doing, a bit of a bounce where some money could come back in and pick up the lows as the ES tries to bounce here, maybe could cause some selling in these two names, which have that negative catalyst. But could be wrong about it and haven't had a successful trade on these two, despite some of the good ones that we've had on this morning. I did get another piece out. Whoops, that's my daily chart. I just got another piece out on Virgin Galactic at that flush in front of 2050. I still have bids all the way down towards the low. If it gets to 20 even, I'll be flat and look for a break of 20 to see if that can't be a flush. Given the fact that we just had a huge move down in the market, I saw someone calling it a flash crash. It was a good call. The market was coming down, by the way, but I don't know if it's a flash crash. Not quite that bad yet. I'm going to have that in a second, Randy. I like to break at 21. Very likely we'll be shorting a pop before that happens, though.
All right, so good thing we didn't get too out of space there as we got back down to 64 right now. We take that bid out. So yes, sir. So there's space breaking that low. The worst just keep on getting worse today. We've seen Palantir make moves to the downside. You're seeing Virgin Galactic making a move to the downside. Poor Kathy Wood. I don't know what she's going to do. Oh yeah, she's just going to keep collecting those management fees for those ARC positions, guys. So congratulations, anyone that's invested there. You're paying an extra 2% to get some of these names. I don't know if that's a good move or not, but here we go, Palantir. We're going to try this, guys. So we're right here now on PLTR. We have a spot that we like, I think. Our average price is 64. We just took some out 69 there. You could see on that print. So we're going to wait to see if we get that print again. But the NASDAQ, if it went there, this probably was going to at least get back into the 80s, which would have been fine for us, and we'd be able to take this off and then be positive on the stock. But right now, just need this to work. Let's go, Memex. Get out of the way. Here we go. We got some 69s. Did we get those 69s? Where are the 69s? Give us those 69s. Where is it? Let's go. Missing it for right now. But there we go. We didn't get 69. Unbelievable. We're going to wait to see my real target for this. If we can get back to sort of this dropping spot, like 87 there. Did we just get, no, we didn't. 87, 88, something like that. That would be a good, see, this is the problem. Like I missed those 69s and I'm instantly down 4 cents from there. 85-ish, I think is a decent out. We do have some orders waiting there in case we miss it, but looking forward to seeing Palantir back into the 80s. Give me that 69. Right now, I have to find out what gateway I'm on. We didn't even get it there. There we go. So we finally get some 69. So right now, we're not going to fire it off. We're going to do a roller coaster because this is the kind of day it's been here on PLTR, guys.
Yeah, and for me, this is the kind of day it's been on, I guess, both Altria. Well, not yet, but also on Philip Morris. So that takes the top off, and I'm about to get out here on Philip Morris. Sorry, got out on Philip Morris, about to get an Altria. You know what the problem with these, and you know what I'm going to say here. How are you going to have two names in the same space where like MO is Philip Morris, so I think Morris, but that's Altria. I always mix these two up, which you shouldn't really do.
I think Zach Morris.
Zach Morris. That's a name for, wow, that's a blast from the past there. But anyways, I'm out of that Philip Morris trade.
Who knows where Zach Morris is from? I mean, everybody should know. We're gonna
if you
see
don't know that,
I think there's a lot of people that don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people that don't know. Depending on how old you are, Neil and I very old, so that may be why. Randy, you know who Zach Morris is?
No, Randy's talking about Jack Morris, baby.
Oh, Jack Morris.
21 game winner for the Toronto Blue Jays, World Series champions. That's what I'm talking about.
Everybody knows who Jack Morris is.
Hall of Fame.
Hopefully, well, they don't. Zach Morris probably. I don't know. I'm not going to say who's more popular. It'd probably be a shame, but it probably is Zach Morris. But Jack Morris, former Minnesota Twins fame. I think that was probably his best.
Well, he went to that 10-inning game, whatever. I mean, the guy was an absolute champion. Champion's a champion. If you don't respect a champion, whether you like the sport or not, the dude was absolutely amazing.
If you don't know who Zach Morris is, guys, come on, man. Like Zach and Kelly.
They know.
Come on, you know Kelly and Zach. Let's get going there. Come on, man. If you were watching that fight with Jake Paul, you'd see the other guy there. What was his name? Slater. AC Slater also involved there. But whatever.
Mario Lopez.
Let's just keep on talking. Let's just go back to trading here.
Yeah.
As those of you that don't know, now you know.
And I want to come, if we can, just to try to get back into trading. We didn't mention this, and I just want to kind of throw it up here because we did say at the beginning that new Purpose ETF also has Ethereum. Volume's actually not huge, but it did open up at like 10.19, actually back down to like 10 even. So it is tracking so far as I can tell pretty well. Although the volume not nearly as good as it is, I think probably as expected on BTCC, doing a little bit more volume and definitely a little bit more liquid. Either way, certainly worth a look there, guys. I forgot to mention this one. I remember Fisker in front of 1330, tried to dip buy, got out. If you ever get into an accidental short, and this one probably due to the fact that I'm trading a lot of symbols at the same time, I had a stop in there, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's make sure we get my stop in when I get the second entry. Didn't check to see I had 2 stops. I end up getting short. I get out immediately, just flat the trade. The Fisker goes, if the short would have gone in the money, that's literally irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You don't mean to be in a trade. I say this almost every single day. If you don't mean to be in a trade, you make a keystroke error. He's a day trader. I've got over 100 fills today. I'm not going to hold on to something I didn't want in the first place, and I don't care what the result is. I'll pay the spread. I'll pay whatever it is just to get right out of it, and that's the way to do it, I think, in my humble opinion. YVR is ceasing to do anything that I'm kind of wanting to have happen here. Like, it's continuing to go down, but I had every intention of getting more shares on this pop, thinking that it was going to bounce off the low and give me another pop into view. None of these things have happened. I got one short and one short only. It's a bit of a disappointment to me here. It's definitely slowed down. It closed at 256 yesterday, so I kind of feel like this is probably as far as it's going to go. I'll park a bit in front of 260. I feel like we're going to be done with this trade. It'll be a winner, just not as good as I thought it had the chance to be. I mean, I obviously missed a short off of $3 when it flushed, and I missed all kinds of opportunities to add in here. And then, of course, at 280. I was waiting at 85 when it pushed up to 75 to 80.
Yeah, everybody, I love all this talk here. Kelly Kapowski, you know what screeched? Dustin Diamond actually just passed away, so rip to screech. And my favorite was Jesse, so you guys should know that. What up, Elizabeth Berkeley there? Check her out. Jesse
so
is my
excited.
girl, not Kelly Kapowski. I was more of a Jesse guy. So there you go on that one. Now you know a little bit more about us that you never wanted to know in the first place. Fisker, look, we talked about Fisker there. I got in and out by accident. That was my stopping spot. But like Neil said, like that would have been a great short, but we didn't mean to have it, so we got out. This was my play on Fisker. It was so simple. It was so easy in the morning. I can't sit here and trash talk EV names like all the time and then not get out. I mean, I'm in Fisker long term. It's not, not about this. But it's just about right now the fact that we see the profits. We got out. Like this was a good win for me. 13.75, one of the top stocks for us today. Fisker, 13.75 bid. Our best out, 14.18. So that's 48 cents or so on that move, and then a whole bunch out around 14. So 25, 30 cent wins all around here on Fisker. And then to say that I predicted this, no, but that's kind of why I got out right here, thinking that if we broke this opening level right here, 75, that this would happen. So it happened early, we got out, then for some reason this move happened. That would have been a fantastic short right there on Fisker, but we missed it. Now it's basing out. I think there could be a possible long situation on FSR. Space, bang, we talked about that. We will do some backflips because again, we talked about that trade. You know what I didn't do today? Oh my God, Maggie, you got to remind me on this one. We're part of Hydration Nation, so shout out to everybody. Shout out to Shakib. Everybody, stay hydrated. But we forgot about the Kirkland men's multivitamin and minerals. So this segment brought to you by our friends at Costco.
They paying you?
There, 365. What a surprise how many they put in here. I need to get going on this. That's why I brought them to work, because they're just sitting around in my house. The wife tries to force feed them to me, and then I always forget about them. So I brought them here. I'm going to try to remind myself, but Vitamin Nation, what up? Join Hydration Nation. I'm going to take one of these right now.
Taking the Kirklands right there live on the show. Look, man, you gotta form those positive habits. I talked about Altria, and I knew this was going to be probably a smart play. And again, if I wasn't looking at Philip Morris, then I would have. I almost made the mistake again. I was going to give this Altria back into 46.25 for that short trade. Because I got into Philip Morris as well, I'm going to say if I want the same amount of risk in both trades sort of spread out, one of the ways you could do is I could have taken some shares off of the short that I had, or I could move my stop to tighter. Either way, I would have been out for the same hit. It just turns out the tighter stop was the way to go. Maybe if we get a push back into 37, that'll be something to revisit. And speaking of revisit, we can always do that in the after show. I want to remind everybody that we come back every single day at 3:15 to 4 o'clock to do Power Hour, that last push into the close. And a lot of these same names and a few new ones, as we witnessed here when the news dropped last night on these particular group of names. Philip Morris, your Altria, of course, that 22nd Century as well. These are going to be important levels. All the stocks that are in play remain in play, but there's always going to be something else to trade. At lunchtime, things get a little bit slow, and then it always heats back up. I mean, that segment is done, Sean, or that show was done before we even know it. The move to the upside on QuantumScape, I mean, I'm whatever. I mean, the fact that this stock finally makes a bottom and then just gives every single penny back, absolutely shocking to me. I'm glad I didn't try defending this. I'm sick at myself for not trying the short a little bit earlier. I thought maybe it would get closer to 35. Brennan?
Wow, what a move. Yeah, another chart that's impressive today. UAL, guys, we talked about it in the pre-market here. Earnings aftermarket over here were not good. Worth noting, we're at $50 even here. It tested it a couple times, actually holding below $50 on UAL, guys.
Guys, worth noting, Sticky Note Nation, guys, make sure you hit that up, $53. Whoop, there it is, UAL 53. So I say under my breath, like, be quiet, Brandon, because yeah, that trade, guys, was the banger. We should still have this, man. Like these are short. So anytime you have purple marks on here, you're gonna notice those are short trades. So short, and then I mean it's just like unbelievable. Like this is stairs. Like I haven't seen really a stock perform like this. Normally you get like bigger, movements one way or the other, but this is pretty consistent. Like every red candle is pretty much the same, and every green candle same thing as well. So yeah, this was a scary move here for anybody involved with UAL. Not a nice move to the downside here for that name. I just can't believe that we dumped it too early.
Yeah, look, I think sometimes the stock's going to have a little more weakness than you think. And Brennan, I'm not falling for it. I'm not going to try the long in front of UAL's bottom again. At least not yet. I think maybe if it gives a bounce and breaks out of this range, like I got long right here, essentially where it is now, like at 50.05 or so, and it couldn't even break that on that latest bounce. So maybe if it gets back up into like the quarters, I'll go for it one more time. But it's just so incredibly weak today, and you don't want to fight the tape too far. I mean, I'm shocked at QuantumScape and the move that it put on. I'm going to go back to MVIS. I do still have this. And of course, is Virgin Galactic above 2150? Nope, so I'm still short that one. But MVIS is trying to make a bit of a bottom as well. I had some success sort of kind of catching where the turn would be, just looking to be in front of the pre-market high level. Now I'm thinking about the same thing at that pre-market low. It very, very briefly broke it. Once it recovered, gave the immediate recovery, I said, tight stop, low of the day. Let's see if it can recover. I'll take some out in front of the top end of this range because, ultimately, if I can grab like a quick 15 to 20 cent scalp trade on it and then try and rinse and repeat, buy some more. This is lunchtime. Sometimes you want to work the range as much as you want to pick the bottom, especially on a smaller cap stock like MVIS. So that's what I'll do. I don't think it goes all the way to VWAP, but 11 would be a great return as well. Brennan?
Zoom, guys, one of the former stay-at-home winners here. Chart reminiscent of that QS move, nowhere near as dramatic, but Zoom downside here as well, 1%, was up to 327 earlier after Bank of America upgrade today for Zoom.
Stocks don't only go up, guys. Stonks don't only go up. Okay, what is finally going? And yeah, we're cashing some of this out. We talked about how beautiful it would be to get to 87, 88. I'll try to hold some, but again, we loaded up on Palantir down here. We talked about giving it that one last coup de grace down to 2150, and it gave it. We are happy to take that long. Now we're just sort of licking our wounds back on the upside now. So, hey, we're pretty good again today, man. We have a little bit of a loss from top, as you've seen this happen. So that trade, not a great one for Palantir today, but the fact that now we're long at 57, it brings us right back into the money, 15 cents. So most of these hits are about 15 cents, if not a little bit less, to be honest with you. So it's just the fact that we had a lot of shares in this area looking to defend 70, but instead we switch it up to defend 50 now on the downside and make back a little bit there of what we had. I had the most shares ever. Not ever, today on Palantir at this level. So that's fine. Making some back, not enough, but we're making it back. And again, in being honest, we're going to be down on Palantir today. The only other name that I want to look back at here right now, as we're getting close, it's 11:12. Make sure you join us. If you're just joining us for the, damn it, I just missed it. If you're just joining us for the first time today and you're like, hey man, I wish these guys did an afternoon show. Wow, look at that. We are back for you guys at 3:15. We're coming back in the afternoon to talk everything closing opportunities. Neil was right, man. Yesterday, if you follow on Twitter, I tweeted this out yesterday when we had this big MO movement. This was at 3:15. I tweeted it out right as we came on air. We shorted this MO 52 and then covered it 49 or something. But that was live on the show. So here's the news as well. The Biden administration, again, reducing nicotine. We talked about that. You see XXII today as well. Some Chinese company there looking to reduce the amount of nicotine available in cigarettes and just in the plant in general. 2157 there. Look at this. Palantir. I was just talking about getting light on it, and that's why. Any little move down in the market, this just gets destroyed to the downside. So again, we'll pick some more up here ahead of 50, but we're going to hold on to our trade for Palantir to break 50. But we got to keep getting out if it gets above 70, guys.
Yeah, hold on to your butts, as Samuel L. Jackson said in a certain movie, which the guy grosses there was that stat that at one point the movies he was in was like in the top 5 of all grossing ones, and people forget the bit roles that he's had in like some movies. But I love that one. Hold on to your butts, because he didn't want to say a curse word. He wasn't allowed to in that movie. But Roblox, there's a lot of charts that are going to look like this, relatively weak. That's all I'm saying. And you always take a second to think back here. The NASDAQ's down 0.6%. The ES is down 0.67%. And every time we get one of these flush days, I kind of want to take a step back before the show ends to kind of realize, how far the overall market is moving. And then you look at some of these individual names which are getting beaten up. And I know I'm going to sound like an old man here, but this is one of the reasons why sometimes the simplest thing is to not always stock pick, but have something in the overall market, because it's a good way to stay a little bit safe and have some cyclical names, have some non-sexy stocks. No one likes Pfizer, no one likes the J&Js of the world, no one likes the Proctors and the Pepsis, but they're not going to get crushed on days like today. Anyways, Roblox, When the move to 84 happened, it started with this pullback to 68. And then eventually there was a breakout at 71, which we caught a little bit of, not enough, of course, on the show. We're right back into the 68 level. And I think there's going to be a few stocks like this. I just happen to notice Roblox as well. This could be one for the afternoon show. This could be another sort of bottom pick ID. If it breaks 68, I don't think you want to be involved in it. But I want to make sure you get a decent price to make the risk to reward work, because if this market breaks this floor and heads down 1%, I would wager that a level like that on Roblox is going to go altogether. Just to come back to a name that I never got into this morning. Why does this not flip? There we go. Tesla gave some, I talked about the 725 area, tried to consolidate, was sort of ready to go if it bounced off there. It never did. Market started crushing to the downside. Now we're heading right back to that 713 to 715 area that I talked about in the morning. If the market can hold the low, that's where I would like to see if Tesla can make its bounce. I like that for the long side the first time. Of course, didn't get it. Let's see what happens now at lunchtime. Brendan?
We didn't get to PayPal in the pre-market, but wanted to mention, guys, the another stock that has given it all back today. But PayPal was higher in the pre-market. They announced you can now buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies on their Venmo platform. So yeah, PayPal was up here initially this morning, but all the way back and then some for PYPL.
Yeah, you guys know that I've been loving PayPal. That was my call for 2020, not 2021. 2021 was the semis, SMH. We could check back on that and see how that call is doing. But one of the big calls that I made yesterday, and I hope you guys took it, was IBM. I talked about them possibly coming up with a beat last night, and that I liked the fact that IBM, you know, what they were doing off of the last earnings call. I went long, and again, you can follow my calls. I put them up on Twitter all the time. You can follow me there. Maybe Valeria can put the link to my Twitter account. But we made this call off last earnings. So this was the dip down. You know, we had a horrible earnings, back down to 118. We got long 118. I have the print in my account, 118. That's where we're long. We sat down here, it was unbelievable. Like, I'm literally long at 118. And then now we take this up to the upside. We talked about it breaking through. As soon as we broke 130, that was a good little spot. And then now you're getting IBM. Look at this, man. Okay, so there goes Palantir. Again, we tried it, and now we're out. You can see that out now on, well, I can't, hold on a second. There's the bid at 55, 56, and there's the out now. Look at NASDAQ, man. It's crapping itself to the downside. Yep. So we're going to wait to see what Palantir wants to do now, but the NASDAQ is making that move. I think the next stop for Palantir, probably 21 even, guys, on a move to the downside. NASDAQ now down 0.9%. Let's see how low Palantir wants to go, but definitely my worst stock today, trying to defend that 2150, and it does not. That's why you got to get some out. This day would be so much worse if I still held on to these. Thank God we took some profits, at least a little bit on that move down. Wow, yucky.
Yeah, and it's going to be another test of that 320 area on Coinbase. And it does break the low of the day, but it doesn't break that 320. It's about to right now. So I've tried it a couple of times. Tighter stops the first two. Give it more room, because 320 is a level here. That's my limit order going to the downside. If 320 breaks, I got to come out of this one. The low of the day is not holding, so that Tesla dip buy, I mean, I don't want to be buying that 713, 715 price as I mentioned. I don't want to be buying it if there was a break of the low of the day on the ES and the NASDAQ. It has both happened. So no long yet on Tesla. I can wait for another point there. And so far, a bit of a hold on Coinbase here at 320. But if that level goes, you're not going to see me stand too far in front of it. We'll end up in that space to the short side. And it's going to be it kind of feels right that this will be the last man standing here. But you got to note that I didn't pick up any more shares here. I was waiting to see if I could get as good a price as we were getting at the top end of this range of at 2 entry areas. Didn't quite get into the second entry area here in the 2120s. I probably should have expanded and gone to like 2110 or something like that. I didn't. With the market coming down, that was certainly a bit of a mistake, because I want to be holding this one all the way to 20 even. It hasn't got there yet, but I still think it's got a bit of a shot, especially with this level of weakness we're seeing in the overall market.
Yeah, the only thing we're holding on to right now is this short in space. So we'll see. Like, no idea where this one wants to go, but looks like it wants to go upside. So, well, not upside, sorry. It resisted that move, but it did take upside. So now that it's coming back down, I was looking at this for a possible, refresh into this name. So we could see what does come through here on space. But what I mean by refresh, like, is this a spot to reload now, on the short side? I believe yes. 2120 and change there for space. Let's see, man, like this move down on NASDAQ is pretty ugly. Let's see if space wants to follow that. It's 11:19. We're going to go over some earnings soon to see what's popping. But Fisker back down to 13 right now. A stock that we didn't look at was NIO. That's back down to 36. So yuck, a little bit of a nasty move here for NIO, just straight down. It was actually holding up quite well, but lately, move down in NASDAQ, you see a big move down in NIO. So no surprise there as well, guys. Yeah, it's gotten super hot in here again. I don't know if that's what Randy and Brendan are talking about, but yeah, a little hot in here one more time. Or maybe it's just the market heating up to the downside.
No, definitely heating up to the downside. I feel like we should have mentioned, we were talking about Clover a few days in a row in that little move to the upside, 2-day move. And I don't know, I mean, it was a lot to watch today, and I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity as you get this breakdown through the low. I mean, I should have been all over something like a 925 break, but just going to file that one away that, when the market's looking relatively weak, those day 2, those day 3 plays, we talk about this all the time, and I think we don't talk about it enough, to be perfectly honest with you. When names are on that watch list, it goes up on the website, and you guys should all be subscribing, as you see on the bottom there. Don't just look at what's active today. If there's a good stock that you made a little bit of money on or was pretty active a couple sessions before, a lot of times there's some pretty solid levels you can work off. And you tried to break through the second day there, and there goes Coinbase, so there's out at 320, so that long's not going to work out as this market continues to fall. But when it couldn't make that push through to fresh highs, it tried several times in Clover. When we roll past those lows, right there, like off of the open, it's breaking that bottom, and it never looks back. Even the pullback does not get back to those previous lows. That's exactly what you're looking for as a short trader. So, pie in my face for not getting into Clover today, but you can see there was plenty of activity, and I really wanted a space in UAL, some of the names we talked about here today. But don't throw out the names from the watch list 2 days before, 1 day before, a week before they'll come into play. You got to trade what moves.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, going long or going short today, I like going both ways. We talk about that all the time. But you can see right now, this to me, and we're going to keep talking about UAL. We'll talk about this as we get back from the afternoon show. But that was just like such a missed opportunity. Should have held that. But you can't predict like these crazy moves. All we could do is really highlight them to you and just make sure you follow that sticky note. What's up with Emo? If you just want to know my ideas, I mean, I'd love to see your guys' sticky notes. If you want to reply to my tweet with your notes, that'd be fantastic. That way we could do some sharing there. This is funny to me because this looks much like Delta in the pre-market. We talked about this. I thought it was going to be nothing but downside. Comes back, takes out VWAP, comes back in again, and just kind of cruises along it. And then now, for some reason, we're heading back to the upside. So I don't know, man. Maybe this administration is not going to pull the trigger on these nicotine limits. I think it's a great idea for society in general, but obviously for tax dollars, at least here in Canada, like cigarettes are taxed at like 90%. Like a pack is something like $12. I don't know anybody that smokes, but it's crazy expensive here for cigarettes. So I don't know if they'll take away that revenue or not. What up, Beep?
I was just checking on Advanced Auto Parts, AAP. It's actually May 17th is their earnings, but this was halted. So it halted downside this morning, 191, and has been halted, just resumed here, straight to the upside back to 198. It looks like they just updated their current quarter guidance. So again, earnings May 17th for this one. It looks like they just updated their current quarter guidance. They also announced a $1 billion increase to their current share buyback program, but AAP ripping, guys.
Wow, that's a big time move. Good luck for getting us that news, Brennan. One name, we only have about 5 or 6 minutes to go, and there's a few stocks that fell under the radar, sort of similar to Clover Health there. Should have stuck with Peloton. One of the things when we were looking at that short yesterday was, thinking there was a decent chance that we could test that 100 level. So obviously we got halfway there in yesterday's action. Looks like we're going to try to test the low again, and that's at 105, which we're basically at. If that breaks, maybe in that afternoon show we'll be looking at something like a Peloton at 100. Obviously taking a low break is going to be something I usually like. I don't typically do it at 11:25, 11:30, which it looks like it's going to be trying to hit now. But if it tries to pop back up, to like that 107, I'll certainly like that as a bit of retracement. Tight stop, short on the way back in here. The market continues to fall here, guys. and it just cracked that 1% mark in the NASDAQ, and the ES is getting very close as well. It turns out to be a good thing that we took off that 320 on Coinbase, because 310 is coming rapidly. Tesla, on the other hand, that actually trying to bounce off that 713 to 715 range that we were mentioning a little bit earlier. So there is some support down there. I don't know how much it's going to be. In the face of this move, breaking the lows, I didn't like it. Even if I had taken the trade, it would be basically flat or $1 in the money. So I don't think it was the wrong decision to forego that long trade. It feels like Coinbase, and we talked about 310. I'll show you where 310 comes from, because there isn't a heck of a lot to look at. When this opened up, it was trust me when I tell you, this was a really good long off the open if you took the opening print, but this is the hard bottom it had at 310. If this level doesn't get defended, I would be a little bit surprised. I'll look to that. My next trade is very, very likely to be either at 310 or it better have retaken 330 to the upside before I do anything on Coinbase. 310, $6 away and closing fast.
Yeah, I love those longs. Our position board's actually wrong. I just told the guys I'm short Palantir now. Because I was going to say, if you can't beat them, join them. There's the short. We're short at 48. It's showing one tick because we went in, we shorted out of this long and reversed it into the short. So there's actually two fills there. You just can't see them. 21.41 was our best out. It could go against. I'm just letting you guys know that I did reverse to that short. If we get out at 60 or so, then we'll get out there. Space, we're still short as well. And then just looking, man, I mean, did Bitcoin, someone asked me earlier on, and I gave the answer that I know to be true, and here's the proof. Does Bitcoin follow the NASDAQ? Well, okay, so the NASDAQ or the S&P, whatever you want to look at, here's this chart, right? You see some baselines right here. If I can zoom in, there it is. You're seeing some basing out right here. Then you see the drop. These are both 1 minute charts. Then you see the drop in Bitcoin, the drop in, I don't know which one led which. The drop here, the drop. Now you're seeing Bitcoin trying to battle back a little bit. You're seeing NASDAQ battle back. So this relationship is not always true. I just want to bring it to your attention that when you do get a lot of like tech wreck and you get some of these big growth names coming to the downside, obviously, one of the biggest growth names out there is BTC. So you're going to see Bitcoin coming to the downside as well. Check out Mara here quickly. This is, again, another blockchain name. Wow, down to 32. Oh, man. Okay. Of course, now my chart won't load, but 32, even on will my daily chart load? We'll get back to you. What I'm trying to get at is this is low beans right now for Mara, down to 32.50. Look at this drop from 53 4 days ago. What up, B?
I was just checking on that ETHH Ethereum ETF in Toronto, straight downside as well. It's ugly for the first day. Let's talk about earnings. There's one standing out on this board, one big one coming up after market tonight, front and center there. Netflix, Verizon, worth noting, tomorrow before the open, guys.
No love for Silvergate? No, I'm kidding. That's a crypto name that's down 12% today. But look, Netflix, after the bell, we had a question about it in the Q&A there. If it gets anywhere close to that 500, I'll be interested in that. I'll be watching Silvergate because I've been looking for an entry back into this thing. And it's getting very, very close to 100. So a couple on my radar if they go any further downside, Silvergate and Lemonade as well. Halliburton, I mean, a solid name, but I don't know that it's one that I've ever traded here, Sean. I'm not sure about you, if there's anything beyond Netflix there.
I didn't even really, I was just too busy there, but you know what? Netflix is a good name. We've talked about that. And then like you mentioned, I was just waiting for this Mara chart to load, which it did. But Netflix, look, it's also at a spot right now, 550. Again, like a mental spot. It's already, come on, charts. I don't know, they're getting worse and worse here as we go throughout the day, but just more data, man, coming through. This is what I mean. Look at this. We are at this breaking spot right now. Which way will it go? What was happening? Oh, bacon. I hear some noise in the background there. Still not sure what it's about. Brendan said the word bacon, so we'll look at that. Netflix coming to the downside right now. This is a key spot. Let's see if it holds this 50-period moving average. I believe Netflix probably, I don't see why they would have had a bad little run here. So I think Netflix beats, and then we'll see if it gets down to 510 tomorrow. If it misses, this is a good buy level here for Netflix around 500. Let's just be patient on that one.
Exactly. Let's not be too patient with what national date is, because I heard some giving away of it, even though I'm not sure. I know why you guys said what you did with bacon, but that's not it. We need to go to Ms. V to see what real National Day it is today.
Thank you, Neil. And hey, guys, I hope you're all safe trading this negative market and found some profitable opportunities. Have a great rest of the day and come back to the same channel at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time to trade the close together. And happy National Cheddar Fries Day, everyone.
I mean, I have a thing with like melted cheese. It's like it has to be absolutely just right, but that looks pretty darn delicious. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a boatload of bacon on that, and you can put bacon on just about anything, and I'll be a happy camper. Also, I want to make a personal thank you to Randy for getting me all these Timbits and sitting them on my desk so that I'm sitting here and eating unhealthy during the show. Please, everybody, do not forget we are going to be right back. Not right back, but we're back at 3:15. It is the fastest, as Sean says, it's that fastest 45 minutes. It's going to be wild. The way this market is moving, the close is going to be something for sure. So let's watch that. We'll be right back here at 3:15, trading into the close. It's going to be an exciting day. We're not going to leave you guys alone navigating these markets. But you know what we got to do? It is 11:30 for the entire team down the line. Miss V, for my man Sean Katina. You better, did you have did you eat the vitamin?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. We pounded back to Costco. Shout out Costco. What up?
Got to keep it real there, Costco. Giving out the shots around here, but also.
Well, I mean, it's the cheapest place to buy vitamins. So hey.
Yes, that is also true. You can also get your vaccine there.
I'll take it.
For Brendan Wickens in the vest, looking rather sharp. I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you this afternoon.
What up, Juan?
Bye, guys.
Hey, Juan, there he is.